This is the Patriots Catch-22 podcast with Evan Lazar and Alex Barth.
I'm Evan Lazar. Evan Lazar.
Hello, everybody.
Nailed it. Joined as always by Alex Barth. That's a fit. That's a match. No risk it, no biscuit.
22.
Here is Evan Lazar and Alex Barth.
We are going to do our guys, my guys, at every position. We have every position written down. Now, some positions we might go a little bit faster through than others because they're not huge positions of need for the Patriots. But
yeah, like special teams.
Did not write down
There is. We might need to do punters. They're not going to take a kick or a long snapper, but I do have. We're going to need to do a quick stop and punt.
22.
You can do a quick stop on punters.
Yeah, I will, because they need one and they might draft one.
Okay.
Cover the whole team.
And then you can do that, and then I'll sit here and nod my head and say, okay, what Alex said. That's also my guy at punter.
22.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I did. You said Stonehouse, Stackhouse, whatever.
Stonehouse.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's it. That's the guy right there. I totally know everything about him and watched him punt footballs, all that kind of stuff. We did all that. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Evan Lazar, Alex Barth. I am fighting off a cold, Ace. I'm fighting off a cold right now. You could probably hear it a little bit in my voice.
Yeah, we can hear it. The timbre of your voice is much more agreeable.
Yeah, there you go. So maybe I should just be sick. Should I just start ripping butts, and that way, that way there, my voice sounds like this all the time?
Yes, absolutely.
I agree. That's a nice Marine joke. Marine likes to make fun of me for that my voice drops when I get sick. I know. Very funny, everybody. Anyways, so hopefully my voice holds up for this entire show. I'm going to do my best. But we have a good show here today. We're going to talk about Eliot Wolf's pre-draft press conference, a lot of tidbits. I really like how Eliot Wolf does press conferences. I don't know if it's necessarily, it might be a little bit too revealing to some.
It's good for us.
Especially when you come off, the Bill Belichick years to a guy that actually will tell you how it is. But I really like it because most of the time I feel like his answers, Alex, are very common sense answers. I don't feel like they're trying to overthink things or overcomplicate things when it comes to the draft. And one of my takeaways from it, and I had another big picture takeaway too, but one of my main takeaways from it was I just don't feel like they're going to do something that is totally out of left field at the top of the draft, because I don't feel like that's how Eliot Wolf drafts. I don't think that that's how he was raised and brought up in the Green Bay system to give us a Cole Strange or a Jordan Richards or any of the million names that Bill Belichick gave us at the top of the draft that made you go, huh? They drafted who and from where? And I think a big reason that I like that so much is because when I look across the landscape of the league, I feel like the teams that are the best at drafting are the ones that generally go with brand recognition. The Eagles. Did the Eagles ever draft anybody outside the SEC or like?
No, they hit the big program.
They go to Georgia defense, Alabama defense, right? They drafted Jihad Campbell last year out of Alabama. They play the hits. Baltimore. They never overthink the draft. They got Kyle Hamilton at like 14, right? Everybody overthought Kyle Hamilton.
Right.
They were worried about the athletic profile, even though he might have had the best tape in the draft that year. What do the Ravens do? They say, ha, all you dummies, we're taking Kyle Hamilton, and Kyle Hamilton's maybe the best safety in football, right? Like
right.
That's what these people do. The Rams are another one.
The Rams are excellent at this.
Or another one of those teams.
Cam Kitchens.
You could sit there and everybody's like Jared Verse,
Right.
Good example. Some things that we don't love about him. He falls to the Rams, all-pro caliber player.
Right.
Those are the best teams that do this at the highest level. It doesn't mean it's perfect, and it's not an inexact, it's always an inexact science. It doesn't mean their hit rate is 100%. Nobody's is. But the teams that are the best at drafting are the teams that I feel like don't overcomplicate things and don't get too caught up in their own evaluation of the player.
Right.
Scheme fit, culture fit. I'll give you a couple of examples from Eliot Wolf, then we can kind of start big and zoom in as we go here. He mentioned speed off the edge. If you just looked at the Patriots' current edge depth chart, the class and the way the class seems to be lining up for the most part, speed off the edge is exactly what we've been saying, and I'm not patting ourselves on the back. It's just It's just common sense.
It's
right?
just something they don't have.
Yeah, and it was common sense that they needed to add more juice in the pass rush. And so what does he get up there and say? Yeah, if we're probably gonna want to add speed off the edge. Day 3 linebacker. I've been saying it. A lot of people have been saying it. It feels like the sweet spot for them at linebacker is somewhere in the 3rd or 4th round. It starts there. I think that drafting a linebacker earlier than that is probably not necessary. Just from a need standpoint, and I also think the talent in this draft is really a middle round talent draft at that position. What's he say? A lot of good linebackers on day 3.
Yeah.
We probably could target a day 3 linebacker here. It just is refreshing to have somebody that approaches it that way. The other thing that I wanted to present to you that I find fascinating about this draft as we get closer. I know that he wants the but in there. I know he wants the but. He said the but is that if we do our jobs, we're still going to draft good football players. This is not to say that this draft has no good football players, but the closer that we get to the draft, the more I feel 2 things are true. It's a down year. I don't think this is a great draft. This is probably more a singles and doubles draft than it is a home run draft. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be any guys that you hit out of the park,
Right.
but just in terms of the margins and things like that, it really feels like a singles and doubles draft. The other thing I saw this morning from Peter Schrager, he said that a general manager texted him and said throw out positional value in a draft like this. I'm a big positional value guy, especially in the 1st round. If I was a GM, and maybe I'd be bad at it, probably would be, but if I was a GM, I'm drafting quarterback, left tackle, receiver, edge rusher, outside corner. Like those are the only 5 positions that I'm drafting in the 1st round of an NFL draft. I just think that the positional value, the surplus value, when you look at the contract of how good it is for your team to have players at those premium positions on rookie deals, all those different types of things, the value is just at those spots. But in a draft like this, when there's not a ton of talent at the top of the draft, you just kind of have to gravitate towards the best player available.
Caleb Downs.
In some respect, right? Because there's just not enough good players to be picky and say, well, I'll give you another example. Caden McDonald, the kid from Ohio State, the nose tackle. I would normally sit here and say, I am not drafting a nose tackle in the 1st round, especially one that doesn't really rush the passer. He's a run-stuffing nose tackle. He's very good at it, but that's what he does. I normally would sit here and say, nope, not doing that. But in a draft like this, you pass on a guy like McDonald and you draft the 7th best tackle in the draft instead, you might end up doing the wrong thing, right? You might end up overdrafting a player. So my question is to you, how do you feel about this draft as a whole? Because Eliot Wolf, even though he had his disclaimer and he had his butt in there, he flat out said at the podium on Monday that compared to recent years, this is a down year. This is not a very good draft.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way? Because you're
When's
allowed
the
to disagree.
last time we had a good draft?
Drake May's draft.
Okay.
Drake May's draft was loaded.
I just feel like
The quarterbacks, Alt, Neighbors,
fair.
Marvin Harrison
I
Jr.
feel like every year the draft never gets better as you go through the process. The way we look at a draft in September compared to how we look at it on April 1st, I can't remember a year of, wow, this draft is better than I thought, because you're still kind of in that boy nice mindset. Like you're just looking at, okay, who's like the good players, and you're not necessarily even digging into them. And then as the process goes on, you obviously do that. You take a deeper look and you learn more about them. And so I don't think it's an unbelievable draft. I mean, I think it's about last year's, so maybe a little better than last year's. Now, some people might say that's not saying much.
Yeah.
And that would be fair. I do think there's more. This draft is better in the middle.
Yeah.
Like the 30 to 80, the 40 to 80 range, I think is better than last year. Last year, that range where it all kind of blended together was like 20 to 50. This year, I think that range is a little wider, but it's a little later. So you're right. Drake May's draft was very good. Like we haven't had one of those, but I do think in the middle rounds is where you're going to make your impact here. That's what's going to separate the teams that end up coming out with good drafts. And the positional value thing is spot on. I mean, the best overall players in this draft, if we're going to do the best player available fallacy, which is truly who are the best. You should just take the best players on the board.
Sure.
It's Jeremiah Love. It's Caleb Downs.
Yeah.
It's Ione from Penn State, the guard.
Good player.
I like Dylan Thieneman too. Like it's
right.
It's,
Even like a Spencer Fano might be an interior player.
Right.
Like, I think a lot of teams are gonna keep him at tackle, but he might be a guard or even a center.
Yeah.
When this all
some of the top
comes
corners. I know corner's a premium position, but like outside of Delaney, who is very good.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 of the top 6 corners might be slot corners.
Right.
So there's, something there. Terrell might play on the inside. Hood might play on the inside. Pons, I'm fascinated to see what happens with D'Angelo Pons, who I think could be a sneaky first-round pick. Jermon McCoy has his own questions. Like, he's a good player at a premium position, but he tore his ACL last January and was still dealing with it at the combine. It's just there's the premium position thing is the biggest takeaway to me. The 2 best players in this draft, just Madden rating, right?
Yes.
Are probably Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
frankly, if you want
Mendoza's really good.
Mendoza's up there.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you want to throw in a guy who might be third, it might be Sonny Styles, who's an off-ball linebacker.
Yeah.
So, and how would you
then
characterize Arvell Reese?
Right, yeah. Then you have the whole Arvell Reese of it all.
Well, but then the other thing is, so Arvell Reese, what position does he play?
Yeah.
You look at the top pass rushers, Reuben Bain is an arm length question. Like, he would have, the shortest arms draft in the first round since 2003?
At that position, something like that.
David Bailey's kind of been all over the place, just sort of popped one year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it's kind of like last year. There's going to be guys at the top with question marks.
I think the difference between this year and last year, to me, are last year you at least had Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, who I think were genuine blue chip prospects. And I know Travis Hunter didn't have a great rookie year. Abdul Carter's the efficiency metrics and like all the advanced stuff loved his
Evan,
rookie
he had
season.
1 sack.
I know, but he had like 50 pressures.
One sack.
I know, but we know now that pressures is a different animal. Like we had pressure rates,
he also
we have win rates, we have
show up to
total
meetings on
pressures.
time.
No, I mean I think that that's fair. I'm not saying that he came out and was Lawrence Taylor, but
where Bain,
when he played, he looked good.
Bain, Bailey, Reese.
I have Abdul Carter higher than all those guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because just his speed and his ability to win in multiple ways, I think is just better. Like that being said, full disclaimer, I haven't watched.
You haven't watched those guys.
Reuben Bain as much as I watched Abdul
This is
Carter.
kind of my point. Like, because this is what we do. You sort of know those guys for the highlights because that's what you see when you do it briefly. And as you dig it, usually it gets worse as you dig it.
You see Bain, obviously I had to watch Mesidor. I had to watch your guy Jacoby Thomas at safety. Like you watch that defense.
Oh, you watched Jacoby Thomas?
Oh yeah, I've watched Jacoby Thomas a while ago.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that.
Yeah.
You think
I just all these guys, you watch that Miami defense over and over and over again, and you start to pick up a little bit of what Reuben Bain's putting down. But I haven't done a deep dive on the top of the draft like I did last year. But Travis Hunter, not a great rookie season. I'll give you that. But
well, we and not to pat ourselves on the back, we said at the time he wasn't realistically going to be able to play both positions.
Right. And so, maybe he goes to corner full time. I would say I was probably, whether, depending on which way you want to put it, too low on Tet McMillan or Tet McMillan exceeded expectations. Either way. I think Tet McMillan was probably better than I thought he was.
Yeah.
He had a really good rookie season. Campbell, when healthy, was solid.
Yep.
Membu was good for the Jets. It just didn't matter because he played for the Jets. And
right.
Nobody knew about it. So I think that there was more of that kind of talent last year. I think this year too, and then we can move on from this point. Arvell Reese might be pound for pound the best player, most talented player in the draft this year, besides maybe Jeremiah Love. I think is probably on that list too. But the hybridness of his skill set.
Yeah.
If you're a team, like I was thinking about this, I thought next week maybe we could do our top 10.
Okay.
I think we did that last year. I know the Patriots were picking in the top
relevant,
10,
yeah.
but I think it's a good exercise still too as draft nicks and draft fans. If you're the Jets and you have a coach that you're still kind of on the fence about in Aaron Glenn, are you going to give him this like project player at the top of the draft that doesn't really have a position? And it's dicey, right? And that's why I think a lot of people for the Jets at 2 have narrowed in on Bailey because it's just an easier projection.
Right.
He's going to rush off the edge, and I don't have to worry about teaching him things and all this different type of stuff. So it's one of those drafts too where I think that there's some uncertainty of 100% where guys are going to play. Everybody's a huge fan of Caleb Downs. As people have nitpicked Caleb Downs over the course of the process, there's a lot of people that think that he's like more of like a pure strong or box safety and not a true deep safety. I'm not saying that that's necessarily true, but that's just what people are saying about him. So if that's the case, like, you know, do you feel great about that? You know, how do you feel he fits your defense? Spencer Fano, we mentioned him.
Yeah.
You know, he might be an interior player. The tackle from Miami, he's got a little bit shorter arms. He's kind of like a Will Campbell. You know, is a little bit sawed off.
Right.
You know, do you feel great about him sticking outside and playing tackle? So just across the board there, I think there's some question marks about not necessarily raw talent, but just where a lot of these guys are going to play.
Yeah.
Which I think is also complicating things as well. Back to the Eliot Wolf of it all and the Patriots specifically. The just some of the specific things that he mentioned that I took away from it. You know, the Gonzalez stuff, the AJ Brown stuff. I know that's you know, what your station and stuff are going to talk the most about. I don't think that their answers have changed at each checkpoint about any of that. So I don't really have anything else to add. I don't know if you do. You know, they keep saying the same things about Gonzalez. We want Christian Gonzalez to be here long term, but as of right now, he's under contract, right? So, you know, that's the same thing. AJ Brown, we would be happy to upgrade the team in any way possible, whether that's AJ Brown or a different player. The same answer that Eliot Wolf has been given for 3 months. So I don't really have much else to add on that. The other thing I would say too, we still continue to ask about Morgan Moses and whether or not he's going to retire.
Right.
And they keep on telling us he's not retiring. So those 3 things, I felt like I saw a lot of people's takeaways from the press conference, and those couple of things were at the top. I felt like that was the same answer that we've been hearing all offseason. So I don't have much else to add.
No, again, the big thing for me was just his breakdown on the positions.
Yeah.
And the other really interesting thing, because we just sort of did this, the best player available versus drafting for need. And we've both kind of been on that same line that like both aren't.
You can do both.
Yeah, but claiming you're just doing, like, nobody really ever drafts the best player available.
Yeah.
And drafting for need just leads to Cole Strange.
Right.
But he mentioned, all right, it's not looking at players at positions you need, it's ruling out players at positions you don't need.
Yeah, that was a unique way
that
to
was
look
it.
at
I
it.
can't believe I never thought of that. And
Yeah.
again, to your point, that's why he's doing it. We're not.
Right.
That plus the way he talked about some of those positions, right? Okay, so they don't need a center. He straight up said that. And we're talking right now like top 100.
Yeah.
They don't need a center. They don't need a quarterback. I'm going to say corner, but if they take a corner with top pick, I mean, it's going to be, you know, 5-alarm bell, Christian Gonzalez, what's his future?
Yeah.
He also mentioned, okay, so he doesn't like the secondary class. And there could be individual players that maybe, but doesn't like secondary class.
Yeah.
Likes the linebackers on day 3.
Yeah.
He said wide receiver and tight end was better compared to previous years. It's been a couple of down years in the draft at those positions.
There's a lot of people that really like this wide receiver class.
I'm going to take that as maybe he doesn't view it super favorably.
It's interesting because I've heard that more and more as the draft gets closer about this wide receiver. Oh, there's a lot of people in the league that really like this wide receiver.
All right, so maybe
class.
wide receiver, but also I'll throw this in at wide receiver, and this was part of the take before you said that.
Yeah.
If they maybe potentially know they're getting AJ Brown, is wide receiver a position they do not need.
Sure.
Okay, so you take wide receiver out. Mentioned linebackers on day 3, so you take that out. So that leaves you with what he also happened to say were the 2 strongest positions in the draft, the front on offense and defense.
Yeah.
And I'll put edge rushers in. I think he said defensive line.
Yeah,
We'll
I'm
put
assuming it's all together.
edge rushers in there. So linebacker or wide receiver put a little question mark on because there's some unknown there. But likes the line. In terms of the position he doesn't like, and the not drafting players you don't need, and then also just there isn't really a tight end in that range in the draft. There isn't really a running back in that range of the draft. I don't think I mentioned those positions. That leaves you with offensive or defensive line, which is kind of where we've been since the beginning. Maybe there wasn't a whole lot of point explaining all of that, as Felger pointed out to me yesterday. But when he says it, it's like, okay, this is more than just me thinking it. We're now actually getting insight into the way they view it.
Yeah.
Because they could view it. They always can view it differently than us.
Yeah, and maybe, that's some of the reason why I like how he conducts these press conferences, because I go into these press conferences hoping to either confirm or deny my priors, because I'm obviously not a professional. I am not a scout. I'm not a general manager. I have a general sense of what's going on with this draft, but they obviously are the experts. So when he says things like you just kind of went through, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how I see it too. Okay, good. Then I might be onto something there. You mentioned some of the specific positions. I want to put names to those positions that he was talking about. I think that's important to do as well. Starting with edge rusher. So he said that they would like to get speed off the edge to complement the group they already have. He talked a little bit about Draymond Jones being more of a speed to power, inside, outside, move around the line type of guy. I would assume, to me, he said, Ponder, Landry, who was the last one he said? I think he mentioned 3 other guys, right? Ponder,
Landry, Draymond Jones.
I thought he mentioned one more. Anyway.
Who else is there to mention?
Well, maybe Swinson or something like that.
I don't think so.
So with Landry, I feel like Landry is a speed off the edge guy, but it kind of made me think, okay, maybe they are also a little bit skeptical of what they're going to get out of Harold Landry in 2026, just health wise. So when I hear speed off the edge, though, just to put some names to it, these are the names to me that immediately come to mind. We can dissect them. We can also, if you want to add anybody, we can add anybody. So just taking what Eliot Wolf said 100% seriously, right? Like, this is just only the number one thing we're drafting off of is speed off the edge. Cassius Howell, which I think is a given. R. Mason Thomas, Malachi Lawrence, Romello Height, Keon Crawford, who they just had in for a 30 visit the other day. And I also put Barham on here, just Deshaun Barham from Michigan. Yeah. Like, to me, that feels like the top 100 board, like the guys that I would put at the very top of the list. Is there anybody that I missed? I mean, we can talk a little bit about these guys individually. I think we've talked about a bunch of them a lot. The one guy that I am starting, I was high on at the beginning in February, and then you go through the process and you kind of forget about guys, and then you sort of get to this point at the end. Romello Height, I think, is a guy that's really interesting to me. He's undersized. He's only 240 pounds. But if let's say they don't get the guys they want in the first and second round, and let's say that they're looking more in the 3rd round range for that edge rusher, I know Romello Height's going to be able to come into the NFL and rush the passer on 3rd down. I don't know if he's going to be able to play in run situations or all situations, but if they just get to the point where, all right, all those like well-rounded guys that can do a little bit of everything are kind of out of it at this point, we just need somebody that can get after the passer and bring speed off the edge. Romello Height seems to fit that. Is there anybody that I missed that you think they would be interested in that mold?
Run through the names again that you said.
Okay. Howell.
Yeah.
R. Mason Thomas.
Yeah.
Malachi Lawrence.
Yeah.
Romello Height.
Yeah.
Keon Crawford. Barham. Deshaun Barham. Michigan.
I think that's all speed guys.
So how do you feel about, because there's a couple guys that I was like, I don't view these guys as speed guys, but maybe they feel differently than I do. And a couple guys that I thought of, TJ Parker to me is still a power player.
Yeah.
Maybe 2024 TJ Parker had a little bit more juice.
Right.
But I feel like he's still kind of a power player. DDS from Penn State is the one that I don't know what to do with him, because his athletic testing was off the charts good. Most guys from Penn State test well. They have they have a thing with that.
Yeah.
He also didn't do the agilities, which is the question, right?
How much did you watch of him in 2024?
DDS?
Yeah.
None.
So that's the thing. Like, he just was a different. I don't know if he was hurt last year or something. I thought his athleticism stood out more in 2024. They ended up dropping into coverage, and he was handling it.
Yeah, but is he bendy? Does he turn the corner? Is he got that ability to, win with pure speed and get tackles opened up?
Pure speed, no, but I think people are underrating his athleticism.
So I think there's a difference between athleticism and the ability to rush the passer with speed off the edge, right?
Okay, so that's fair.
I think TJ Parker's pretty athletic.
He's definitely
I
more,
think TJ Parker can drop and do that type of stuff too.
Sutton's definitely more of a power rusher.
Yeah, I just thought when I watched him, I thought he was a little stiff. Like, he was a little upright, stiff. His play style in general It's not a perfect comp because he's a better athlete coming out. Reminded me a lot of Anthony Jennings, like just the type of player that he was.
Yeah.
I don't know if I see necessarily speed so much off the edge. So that was my list, my short list based off of what Eliot Wolf said. At linebacker, he mentioned day 3 linebackers. So based on those comments, it sounds like Anthony Hill Jr., CJ Allen, Jacob Rodriguez. I would say those 3. Maybe Golday like slips to the end of the second round, and that isn't necessarily, a first round pick that you're using at linebacker or a top 50 pick. But it feels like those 3, Hill Jr., Rodriguez, and Allen, probably not. Right? If they're thinking day 3 linebacker is the sweet spot, then probably not on those 3 guys. So the guys that I highlighted were Aiden Fisher, who I really like, Bryce Betcher from Oregon, who Dan Brugler took in his mock for them today, Jimmy Rolder from Michigan, who's a guy I was late to, who I thought was really, really good for this, part of the draft, obviously, relatively speaking. And then you kind of get into like, the Perkinses and the Lewises and like those types of guys too.
You think Lewis going to be day 3 guy?
I think he's going to be a late 3rd rounder.
Okay.
Yeah. My guess is that the league, based off of what Eliot Wolf said, is a little bit lower on the linebackers than we are.
Okay.
He said day 3 is a sweet spot, right?
I just wonder if he specifically gets pushed up because of the copycat effect and everybody trying to find the next Nick Eamon-Warry. I'm not saying that he's going to be that guy.
Yeah.
But I'm saying they're going to be teams
he's more
that
pure
say,
linebacker. Okay, so Lewis, Perkins, those guys. I know there's a lot of love for like Josiah Trotter from Missouri too. I think he's an early day 3 guy probably because of the coverage and the size limitations that he has. Maybe a Kayshawn Elliott, Caleb Elam's, or like you can maybe throw those guys in there too. Who do you like out of that list? But is that the list to you as well? Because to me, Fisher, Betcher, and Rolder make the most sense. Like in some sort of stack, right? I'd probably put Fisher at the top.
Yeah, I'm not as high on Betcher as I think everybody else is. I like Rolder and Fisher because those are like potential future green dot guys.
Yep.
The other one that might go in that category, and we're talking like later in the draft at this point, is Red Murdoch from Buffalo.
Yeah, I watched him.
I feel like
he's a little. I don't know if he's a great athlete. That would be the question that I would have.
Yeah,
with him.
Buffalo has. So that's if they want to wait on it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put him on the level of Fisher or Rolder, but if they want that guy, but they're waiting, I feel like every 2 or 3 years, Buffalo just has some linebacker come through the draft with just bananas production. And at the very least, I think Murdoch's going to be a good special teams player. He's instinctive and he'll stick his nose in there, and he's a good tackler and all that. And so this is like 6th round. This is later, but he'd maybe be the late day 3 version of those guys to me.
Yeah, he was just. I thought his athletic limitations showed up a little bit.
He doesn't pop as much as some other guys, for sure.
No, I thought Rolder really popped, but he only started 11 games, I think it was, in college.
He hasn't played a lot.
He hasn't played a
ton.
ton.
So I'll give you an interesting one. I did my mock draft mailbag last week, and somebody sent this to me, and I kind of loved it. I hadn't thought about it. And you could do this with Aiden Fisher, but they had the Patriots going back to back. I think they traded up in the 5th round to do this. They took them within like a couple picks of each other.
Yeah.
Jimmy Rolder and Harold Perkins. And what a fun duo that would be, because Harold Perkins is going to fly around and make plays, and maybe he's not the most disciplined player, but he's going to make a lot happen. And then Jimmy Rolder, I've referred to as like the ultimate cleanup guy. Jimmy Rolder, I don't think goes out of his way and makes a lot of plays that aren't there, but everything that's there to be made, he makes. He's very reliable. He's very consistent. He's a cleanup guy. That's what he does. So you put him next to somebody like Harold Perkins, and you could, that's going to give Zach Core a lot of options to use Perkins creatively, because, all right, we're going to take some risks here, but you have a guy like Jimmy Rolder who can clean it up behind him.
Yeah, I like double dipping on day 3. At linebacker, I like double dipping on day 3. Obviously, I'll take all the offensive linemen. You want to draft 3 offensive linemen on day 3 with 11 picks, I'm all for that. Those types of positions feels like that is, if you're not going to go early at it, especially tackle, it feels like going late but going often is probably the best case scenario, right? Like if you're not going to draft Ionich or Miller, Rodriguez, Allen, Hill, one of those guys, then just kind of throwing darts on day 3 at multiples seems like the best case scenario for the Patriots. The other thing, just quickly, that he was asked about and talked a little bit about is backup quarterback and the depth behind Drake May at quarterback. Sounds to me like they feel pretty good about Tommy DeVito being the backup. Maybe that means that QB3 is, obviously if they like a guy at the end of the draft in the 6th or 7th round, they could still take that player. It could also be a UDFA, a college free agent, like you said. So I don't think that we're necessarily in a place where they're thinking they need to draft a quarterback super early, or not that I thought they were going to do that anyways, but I don't even know if they feel like they need to draft a quarterback at all.
Yeah, he mentioned, meeting with the veteran or looking at some veteran guys too. So.
Yeah, they feel like they're really trying to get a third quarterback. Was there anything else I missed from the press conference that you had takeaways on? I think that pretty much does it.
I think that's it.
Okay, so we had an exercise that we wanted to do. Let's start the exercise, and then we're gonna get into some calls and emails after that. And for the rest of the show, we'll take your calls and emails and for the full second hour for sure. So this is your thing. You set the table. What are we doing?
I just kind of thought because of that game we were doing the last couple weeks, and I guess we'll do it again here to kick it off. Patriots on the board at 31. Denzel Boston or Chris Brazzell? Who are you taking?
Yeah, Denzel Boston today.
Okay. I feel like you're pretty solidly in Denzel Boston. It's like 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I'm pretty much
So you seem
there.
settled on that. But, the last couple of years, it was 2 or 3 guys at the 4th overall pick. And, maybe we were debating different quarterbacks with different tackles last year, but there wasn't that much variance this year. And Wolf talked about it yesterday. You can't really look at one or two guys and be like, these are the guys, because you don't know if they're going to get there or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's not a full-on mock draft because it's tough to do that without the visual, which we can't do right now. But what I thought we'd do, I have the PFF simulator up, and we will run through. I'm just going to run it down to 31. We're not going to do trades. I'm going to run it down to 31, and I'm going to give you the board.
Okay.
Here's who fell, here's who didn't, because this is what it is, especially as we get within a week and a half. This is what they're doing over there in the new building.
Yes.
They're running scenarios.
They are. They literally do mock drafts, and I'm not saying that again, not to pat ourselves on the back.
They do it at a higher level than we do.
They're doing, but they admit that they do the mock drafts. Yeah.
So, because that's how you prepare. Because you don't want to get there that night and be like, all right, this is what the board looks like. You want to be ready for every scenario. So I thought we'd run some and kind of see where you're at. So I'll tweak the settings a little bit. PFF has some different big boards we can use, so we get different results. I had a really good one when we did a trial before the show, so I'm hoping we get something like that. None of the edge rushers and none of the tackles fell.
Okay.
It was perfect. And nobody was calling for trades.
Okay.
So
we're not traded.
We're not trade. Oh, we might do one trade down.
No, we're not traded.
Okay. Oh, okay. First one's interesting.
Okay.
We're not necessarily going to do respect the board here. Like, I want your full thoughts on this.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you the 3 big positions: tackle, edge, and receiver. And if anybody else notable falls, I'll tell you as well.
Okay.
At tackle,
Yes.
Caden Proctor, Maxie Honachor, and Caleb Lomu all fell.
It's not respecting the board.
Well,
I mean, it's not respecting.
it is for Honachor. Pregnant is still there at guard. At edge,
Yes.
Zion Young, Malachi Lawrence, R. Mason Thomas, Gabe Akis are your top edge rushers.
Okay.
At receiver, KCC's the only top guy that fell. There was a whole run on, and Chris Brazzell's still there, your guy.
Yes.
Colton Hood is still there. He's really the only kind of high expected first round pick, Jacob Rodriguez.
Okay. So here's where I'm at today.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm gonna probably finish here. I feel like the way the board sets up,
Yeah.
taking the tackle in the first round and then hammering the positions that might have a more immediate impact, like edge and receiver.
Yeah.
And on day 2, tight end, I think that makes more sense just the way the board is currently presenting.
Yeah.
I think that at edge rusher, is there a huge difference? To give you an example, is there a huge difference between Malachi Lawrence and the guy that they're going to get at 63 at edge rusher?
I think Lawrence is a little underrated, but I get what you're saying.
I think the drop off is not that significant.
I would almost use that on Young more in that example, but your theory is correct. I agree with your theory.
Are they going to get, you mentioned KCC. I love KCC.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's exactly what they need, though. I think that you can build a receiving core with what they have. If you add KCC, that's going to be pretty good. No doubt about it. He's a good player, but it doesn't fit my whole narrative that they need size and speed on the outside.
Right.
So to respect the board.
Yeah.
And to do all, to really think what might actually happen on draft night.
So I want to do two each here.
I'd probably go tackle in that situation.
So you think they would go Ihanacho? What would you do here?
I draft KCC.
You would draft KCC.
I think he's the best player.
Okay, you think KCC. So you're doing the actual best player available.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to...
but it's still at a position that they need. You know,
I'm
that
gonna
they could use an upgrade.
Tick up care for positional value a little bit and see how that changes what we get. Let's run another one. All right. Here is who fell. Caden McDonald is the best player on the board. TJ Parker, Maxi Honachor, Caleb Banks, KCC, Lomu fell again, Zion Young, Jacob Rodriguez, Malachi Lawrence.
Who is in? Give it to me again.
So you have Caden McDonald as the best player on the board. They did meet with him in the top 30. At edge, TJ Parker did fall.
Okay.
You also have Zion Young and Malachi Lawrence. I think you're going to have them available in all of these. KCC is, again, the only receiver.
Yep.
And then what was it? At tackle, Ihanachor and Lomu both fell.
Okay. So Lomu's falling a lot for PFF, which doesn't
I'm going to change the board after this. We'll try another board.
That doesn't surprise me because I think, my whole thing with Lomu, because I feel like I haven't talked a ton about him, because A, I don't really think he's going to be there, but B, he's also not really my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that you see, and I think with both of these Utah tackles, they just didn't do a whole lot of NFL stuff in that offense. You know, it's a triple option offense. There's a lot of read option type of stuff. There's a lot of misdirection, window dressing. There's just not a whole lot of times where they got to do two things: true pass set, like an NFL drop back pass set, and run block with like real power. They didn't really get to show off if they have a ton of functional strength and power. So you're kind of projecting that this guy Lomu, has the measurables, has the athletic profile, fits the bill, looks the part, wears the suit, the whole thing, and that the rest of that is kind of in there, but Utah just didn't show it. If it were me, again, this is if it were me, I would rather take the bet on Ihanachor than Lomu. Because I feel like Ihanachor, at least I saw Ihanachor sit in a pass set against David Bailey and Romello Height and actually block like he's going to at this level. It's raw, and there's things that he's got to work on, certainly, but at least I saw it with my own eyes. I feel like there's more risk involved and projection involved with Lomu. So with that board, though, I am tempted to go TJ Parker, who I think is getting like slightly underrated because of the 2025 production that he had. I think that TJ Parker is the type of player that, similarly how I feel about Cassius Howell, if TJ Parker is there for the Patriots at 31, then is there a chance that 20 teams kind of overthought it, right? And didn't just like take the chance on the talent, Because like I feel like TJ Parker coming into this was touted, coming into the fall season was touted as a
top 10, top 15 pick.
Right. And now he's fallen because he only had 5.5 sacks last year at Clemson. So with that board, I would be tempted to go TJ Parker over Ihanachor. It's one or the other.
Okay.
I still like, what I said about KCC still stands, but I would say that it's one of those two guys. I'd probably lean Parker in that scenario.
All right, let's try a different board here and see how that changes. We'll do like 4 or 5 of these.
Okay.
Okay, this changed it up a little bit. This definitely changed it up. Blake Miller has fallen. Blake Miller is the best player available. Caden McDonald, CJ Allen, Cassius Howell, Maxi Honachor, Caleb Banks, Zion Young, Malachi Lawrence, Jacob Rodriguez, R. Mason Thomas.
Okay. Give me the top one more time.
Blake Miller fell.
Yeah.
Caden McDonald fell. Cassius Howell fell. So you have both.
I have Miller and
Andy Honachor,
and Howell.
and also Cassius Howell. This is a very favorable board for the Patriots.
I feel like I have to say Howell because I've been saying all offseason that I just don't love them taking a tackle when they don't necessarily need the tackle right away,
Yeah.
But I would probably have Howell as the highest graded player out of that group.
Okay.
And then he's also at a position that they need,
Yeah.
So I would say the lineup of best players / position of need is Cassius Howell here.
Yeah.
So I'd probably go Cassius
Even
Howell.
more so. So I'll give you another, just because they're both on the boards. First time we got it.
Yeah.
Blake Miller, Maxi Honachor. They're both on the board.
Blake
You're going
Miller.
tackle Blake Miller.
But
Yeah,
I think the difference, though, is that...
and I don't think Blake Miller's going to be there, but...
The tough part about Blake Miller, though, is that Blake Miller should be starting as a rookie.
Yeah.
Like, he made 50-some-odd starts at Clemson. I think it's 54 is the number. So, like, there's no reason for Blake Miller to sit.
Right.
Whereas with the Honachor, you have the developmental thing going on, right? Where he probably could use a rookie red shirt, and then maybe the ceiling is significantly higher as a result of redshirting as a rookie and developing and all that kind of stuff. Blake Miller, to me, is like a team that needs a tackle this year, like kind of the position the Patriots were in last year. with Will Campbell. Like a team that needs a tackle to start this year should be running the card up if Blake Miller is on the board when they pick. I don't know if the Patriots are necessarily in that spot. They might have a little bit more leeway to take a developmental player like Iannitor.
Okay, I got a good one. And this is one player fell.
Yeah.
And you may not think it's respecting the board. I think there's a chance he falls. It's a guy that I don't think you're a big fan of. And then the rest of the board did not go the Patriots' way here. So at edge, the top player available is Keldrick Falk.
Okay.
But after him, it's Lawrence and Young. Those are the next two guys. Everybody else went.
Yeah.
At tackle, nobody fell. Lomu's gone, Iannitor, Miller, they all went.
Okay.
At receiver, it's just KCC.
Okay.
He's the only one on the board. Other top players who fell, that's really it. PF, the highest player on the board here is Christian Miller, then AJ Halsey. The guards are still there, and Jacob Rodriguez is still there. Oh, Cade McDonald fell. But do you take Keldrick Falk after he fell?
No. I'm out on Keldrick Falk.
Okay,
I don't see it. I don't see I shouldn't say I don't see it. That's strong.
Yeah.
I don't see the pass rush upside with him. Like I just don't know what kind of pass rusher he's really going to be. I personally think that he should continue to add mass and play strength to his profile and be like a 3-4 defensive end. Like if they were still in the Belichick defense and they wanted those 3-4 ends that, can get into blocks and two gap and, cast the wide net with their length and all that kind of stuff, then he'd be more I could see a fit more. If you want your edge rushers to play outside the tackle, then I just don't know why you would be interested in Keldrick Falk. I get that he's young. I get that there's upside there. I personally think that the hype around him I feel like he's in a similar boat to Zion Young to me. Like I think that those guys are in a similar tier of player, and it feels like the league views him as like a top 20 player in this draft. And I think it's age related. I think they see a runway there for some significant upside.
The best players left at the positions we're talking about: Christian Miller, defensive tackle from Georgia. Chase Basantis, Emmanuel Pregnan, the guards. KCC still here. Jacob Rodriguez, Cade McDonald, Malachi Lawrence. Oh, I didn't see this one because you learned Peter Woods fell.
Okay.
And Zion Young.
I'm probably going KCC in that scenario.
Okay.
Yeah, this is I keep passing on KCC, and
is this like a borderline, like worst case scenario board for the Patriots?
I don't think so, because KCC is still a really good player. The fear that I would have if the board shaked out just like that is that they go guard. Because
I think there's a case for it here on this board.
Because Pregnan and Basantis are both really good players.
You could argue that if you don't like Falk, if we're just going to do, again, the best player available, 0 to 100, are those guys the best player on the board here? Actually, I might say it's Rodriguez, but
I don't know. Yeah, Pregnan, I feel like they're different, right? Basantis is like a high level mover, great pass blocker. Reminds me a little bit of Gray Zabel. Pregnan is more sturdy, well anchored power, but not nasty necessarily. Just like kind of a different kind of player. I'd probably say Basantis, I have him a little bit higher at this point than Pregnan, but not by much.
All right, let's do one more.
Let's do one more. Let's do with the second and third round. And then
so we're not going to do that with this one because this one, the board's a little bit of a mess again. The top players at tackle, they all went. The top players on the edge are Zion Young, TJ Parker, and Malachi Lawrence.
Okay, that seems to be the board at edge PFF has given us.
Denzel Boston is still there, wide receiver. Concepcion went. He went to the Texans. Denzel Boston is still there. And the reason I like this one is a wild card. This is a guy they met with. Emmanuel McNeil Warren fell to 31.
Okay.
And I think that's CJ Allen fell. I think that's pretty much it for like notables. Yeah, all the guards are there. Who you taking?
I think McNeil Warren, very highly of McNeil Warren.
Or who would they take here?
Probably the guards.
Over TJ Parker and McNeil Warren?
I don't know what they feel about TJ Parker.
Okay.
Because it doesn't fit. The speed off the edge thing is kind of creepy.
You think they'd go guard over EMW?
I think so. I think that Eliot Wolf told us, again, it's just a hunch, but Eliot Wolf told us that the best parts of this draft are the offensive line and defensive line. And I think that they want to be a draft and develop team in the trenches.
Yeah.
So whether it's offensive line, defensive line, I think that's where we're leading. If you want, I do think edge rusher is part of that. Like I think they include edge rusher and defensive line. But I think that's, if I would be pretty stunned at this point if that's not their first round pick, is either a tackle or a guy off the edge. I guess maybe McDonald.
But you just said you thought they'd go guard here.
Or sorry, offensive line
or a guy off the edge.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
On that, before we get to the one where we go a few more rounds,
Yeah.
rank these guards for me.
Okay.
And I'm going to throw 2 more names in here that are so the Patriots start meeting with top 50 guards and suddenly it becomes a conversation, rightfully so. And the 3 names that you keep hearing are Pregnan, who they met with.
Yep.
Rutledge, who I think they met with it there at his pro day. That wasn't a 30.
Yeah.
And then Chase Besantis, who I guess they wanted to meet with but couldn't get on the schedule.
Okay.
So those 3. The
Yes.
other 2 I'm going to give you
Yep.
are listed in most places tackles, but are probably going to play guard.
Dunker and Tiernan.
And on Jennings Dunker, if we're going to do day 2 guards for the Patriots, can we bring Jennings Dunker into this thing? I was so excited to do Jennings Dunker during this pre-draft process.
Yes.
And then they signed Elijah Vera Tucker, which good. I'm not complaining about the signing, but like now Jennings Dunker didn't make sense. Suddenly he does again. Nothing against the other 3 guys who are true guards, but Jennings Dunker is a good player. I like them. If we're going to talk day 2 guards, I want Dunker to be in the conversation. So I'll give them to you again. I'm just curious your ranking, and give me a percentage that they draft one of these 5.
Okay.
At some point. Rutledge, Pregnan, Besantis, Dunker, Tiernan.
I'm out on Tiernan.
I'd probably have him at 5.
I think he's at
I'm not
5.
entirely out, but I'd put him at 5.
Athletic player, moves well, pass blocks well, but the short arm thing probably eliminates him at tackle. His arms are 32 and a quarter. They're even shorter than Will Campbell's. I think that rules him out at tackle. I think the hard part about it, and I'm going to put Dunker at 4, is that I really like these guards, like the pure guards. So instead of trying to project what a college tackle is going to look like,
you've
at
seen
guard,
these guys do it.
So like Jennings Dunker, for example, if you want that skill set, the nasty run blocker, power finisher, like Kalen Rutledge is just sitting right there. Like you've seen Kalen Rutledge.
Jennings Dunker's the boat, or Jennings Dunker's the mystery box. You're saying Kalen Rutledge is kind of the boat.
Yeah, like if that's the type of player that you want, then just draft Kalen Rutledge like that, and that's the skill set that you're translating in. I probably go Pregnan 2 on that list. I really like he's just a solid, stout player.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's the finisher that Rutledge is. Like he doesn't want.
He has some finish.
But I don't think he Rutledge wants
Maybe
to
not,
take souls. Like Rutledge wants to ruin somebody's day.
But I don't think Pregnan lacks finish.
No, but I look at him more as in that Mike Onwenu category.
Okay.
He's not quite as big as Onwenu. He's only 315. But of really strong, really sturdy, really reliable anchor, but not necessarily somebody that's trying to ruin your day. Doesn't necessarily have that. I am shocked, and I was happy to see that Brugler said that he thinks he's going in the first round. I think Besantis is going in the first round. Besantis is a hell of a player. Just really high level pass protector, explosive out of his stance, great athleticism, got some power. I think that he, like I said earlier, I think he reminds me a lot of Gray Zabel coming out. Gray Zabel was a mid first round pick. I think Besantis is going in the first round.
So you have Besantis, Pregnan, Rutledge, Dunker, Tiernan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. And it's funny because
I'd probably be the same.
When the process started, I feel like that was flipped.
Yeah.
And then you started to dig into this guard class a little bit more. It's a good guard class. There's a lot of good guards. A lot of good ones. Even I'm still kind of getting through a couple of them. I watched Stevens from Iowa this morning. He's a strong player.
Isn't he more center?
He could be. I think he snapped
I
a
guess
little
we should
bit.
put Brian Parker in there too. He's probably going to play center, but he can play some guard.
Stevens a good player though. Strong, not most athletic guy, but knows angles, knows his footwork, knows how to get up to the second level, combo block. Who's the other guy? The kid from Oklahoma. He's pretty good too. Interior player, physical. Another kind of power oriented player if you want that. So even some of these guys that I'm getting to late are pretty solid. Somewhere in the 4th or 5th round. Type of guard prospects. Another position where I feel like the sweet spot is the middle
of the draft.
I mean, even later on, again, that group of Jeremiah Wright, Inez Cooper, Micah Morris. Who am I missing? There's a fourth one.
Oh, like deep.
Yeah.
Logan Taylor, maybe. Logan Taylor. I
No,
think
there's like 4 jumbo guard. Oh, Armaj Reed Adams.
Oh, jumbo guards.
Yeah, one of those 4. Like those are all kind of Michael and Winu clones.
I also think we're missing. Like, I don't think we've talked enough about Logan Taylor from Boston College.
Logan Taylor reminds me a ton of Ben Brown, and I mean that very complimentary.
Yeah,
Like,
I think he's going to be a pretty solid player.
he's going to hang around the league. He can play a bunch of different positions, and yeah. All right, you want to do one top? We'll do first 4 rounds.
Yeah, just let's go quickly through the second and third round.
Okay, so. Well, we got to get the board. I didn't go out down. We got to get the board at once. You got to do this one more time. Okay, here's who fell.
Okay.
Lomu,
Yep.
Cassius Howell, Maxi Honachor, Zion Young, Malachi Lawrence, R. Mason Tom. And then, like, the guards are there, the same guys who have been there. So you said you think tackle, Honachor.
I think tackle. I'd probably go Howell in that situation.
What do you think they'll do? They would do Howell or Honachor, which might end up being, like, the question.
I lean Ionichor there. What they would do.
What they would do. Okay.
Yeah. I think the Howell thing is probably. I probably like him maybe a little bit more than most. So.
Okay.
But we'll see.
All right. So we'll go Honachor. We're not going to do any trades.
Yep.
It is loading. Here we go. All right. Who fell to 63? Jennings Dunker. So all those other guards are gone, but if you want to just beef up the offensive line right away, Jennings Dunker is there.
Okay.
Dominique Orange.
Big
Defensive
sit.
tackles one we should
Big
maybe be
sitter.
talking about a little more too. DDS is
Yes.
still on the board. Max Clare, if
As
we
he
want to
should
start
be.
tight ends. Romello Height, Ted Hurst, Kyle Lewis, Grayson Hatton,
So
Joshua Joseph, Skylar Bell.
So we're assuming I went Cassius Howell at the first round. So
No, you said Honachor.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Oh,
so
hang on. Did you say how you think they would go Howell?
I said I would go Howell. I think they would go Ionichor.
I was doing
so
what
which
they
one
would do. I was doing what they would do. Okay, we're trying to predict it.
Ionichor.
Yeah.
So then, name me the edge rushers that are still on the board.
The edge rushers that are still on the board are Sutton,
Yeah.
Height, Joshua Josephs, Jayshon Barham, Kieron Crawford.
Ooh, I don't love that. Okay.
There was a run clearly at some point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Derek Moore went the pick before us,
Oh, that would have been the guy there.
and then Gabe Akis went like 2 or 3 picks before.
Okay, and
that. Would they take Kieron Crawford a little higher than most? I think he speed off the edge.
he fits exactly what they're
Smart player.
looking for.
They met with him.
I wonder if maybe like could you trade up from 90?
Do we want to do trades?
But no, I don't.
Because we
But
do have some teams calling.
Could you trade up from the end of the third round to like 75 or 80?
I think like
and try to get-
79 is probably about where you're getting
Yeah,
realistically.
and then you could get there, get him there instead. Who was that receiver again? You mentioned Hurst.
Hurst, Fields, Antonio Williams, Elijah
how
Surratt, Skylar Bell,
You know how
Bryce
I feel
Lance.
about Fields. Hurst is tempting there.
At 63.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
tempting there. I think Hurst, really good year for, like small school receivers. Him and
Yeah.
Skylar Bell are 2 legit prospects. You mentioned Claire, which like I'm starting to wonder about that one a little bit more. Like I'm warming up to that idea. I think you have to take him at 63. I don't think he's going to be there at the end of the
Right.
third round. Obviously, they have talked about wanting tight end. I think he's probably the best receiver just in terms of what he did in college and,
Yeah.
immediately putting that into the pros. Went to Ohio State for a year.
Yeah.
I wonder if what they feel about Claire. I feel like we've talked a lot Delp, we've talked a lot
Yeah.
about Roush, we've talked a lot about Stowers, haven't really talked as much about Claire. Some people see a better player after the catch than I do. Maybe there's a little bit more there than I'm giving him credit for. I still think that he's like kind of just a professional receiver at tight end where like he just knows how to get open, has a good feel for it, got enough juice, enough speed off the line of scrimmage to, beat man coverage, but more of a player that I feel like is kind of Hunter Henry-ish, that's just crafty and kind of going to figure out how to get open. I don't necessarily see I've seen some like Tucker Kraft and Dalton Kincaid comps with him. I don't know if he's quite as explosive as those guys are. I don't know how you feel about that. Maybe the athletic testing, like he didn't test. He kind of dodged the testing.
I think he probably would have tested better. I mean, he didn't test, so maybe that tells you something.
Right.
but-
That's I think what's psyching me out a little bit about it is that he didn't test, which makes me think that maybe he wasn't going to test well.
So you want to take Claire here? Still wait on
I
edge?
think I'm going to go Claire.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to trade up from 95 and
Nope. I want to. We're doing it.
okay. You might not get an edge rusher then.
We're doing it chalk.
No.
Oh, Kieran Crawford fell.
There you go.
Put him on the board.
Yeah. So Ionich or Claire Crawford. I
Yeah.
like that.
And then I went to the
Nailed
fourth,
it.
so we still have a couple more picks.
Okay.
125.
Yeah.
Double up a tackle. Austin Barber fell. Tell me what positions you want.
So we went tackle in the first round.
Yeah.
We went tight end.
And then edge.
We went edge.
We did the same top three that everybody's done in every Patriots mock draft. You want to go guard. Billy Schrouth is the top player on the board.
The
Jeremiah
injuries with
Wright
him
is
worry
still
me.
there.
Jeremiah Wright, I feel like we could wait on, and like I feel like he's
Yeah.
getting mocked into like the 5th round in a lot of places, like late 4th, early
Yeah.
5th type of thing.
Defensive tackle, DeMonte Capehart, Zane Durant, Tim Keenan. If any of those guys
Okay.
own a DM
Mhm.
too, who Brugler had in top 100.
Yeah. I watched him. He was okay. What about like linebacker?
Elliott, Botcher, Perkins, all here. Fisher, Rolder.
Okay, so all the linebackers are still
Yeah.
there. What about safety? What do we got at safety?
VJ Payne, Michael Taffy, Jacoby Thomas are the top three. And then Jalen Husky, who they met with, but this is too early for him.
Yeah, okay. Not
And
a
then
great,
again, it was too early for Craig Woodson last year.
Not a great 4th round board. Not a great board.
Board gets a little thin in the 4th round. I would
Who's
agree
like
with
the
that.
top? Like, give me the top like 5 guys.
Michael Trigg, Cage Casey, Cole Payton, Austin Barber, VJ Payne. Takario Davis is up there too.
Oh man,
Zekia Massis, who I like.
because I already like I really like Cage Casey, but I already took a tackle in the first round. He's
Yeah.
gonna probably be a guard.
Well,
So maybe they would go guard here. Maybe, I don't know. I don't love any of those names. I'm not gonna lie. Who's that receiver?
who's at receiver? Josh Cameron, Kevin Coleman, Jeff Caldwell, Cyrus Allen, Reggie Vigil are the top receivers.
Jeez
CJ
Louise,
Daniels too.
that board dropped off a cliff.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
I actually don't hate Kevin Coleman. I don't know
I don't hate him
what
either.
he does here.
Yeah, he
Unless
would,
you're going to trade Pop.
Right. I feel like he's probably you're not extending Pop's not in the plan
Right.
type of player, but I don't mind him either. I think he's not maybe not quite as fast as Kyle Williams like vertically, but kind of similar to Kyle Williams too.
Yeah.
A little redundant there. I'd probably just default to offensive or defensive line if that's the board. It's not a great board, so
So then you have,
just draft the trenches player and keep it moving.
so you've got
Can never go wrong.
Casey, Barber, Shrouth, DeMonte Capehart.
Oh, Barber's still there?
Yeah. Thought I said that.
Okay, who are the defensive linemen?
DeMonte Capehart,
Yeah.
Zane Durant, Tim Keenan.
No.
And you don't like Tim Keenan?
Like late. Sure.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
Tyler Onadium, Michael Kamara,
Okay. I'd probably go Barber.
George Gums.
I like Barber's versatility. I think he
Okay.
can play tackle. You know, if you had to
Yeah.
you leave him out there, I think he can play guard. I think he's going to be a starting caliber guard. I think he's probably going to be a flex or backup tackle.
Okay.
Those players are pretty valuable. You know, if you do move on from Mike Onwenu, he's not like wide framed and big like Onwenu is, but he's powerful and he finishes. He has a good play strength to him, a good power, functional power to him. I'll go Barber there. I really like
Alright.
both those offensive linemen. I feel like you kind of solved a lot of your problems on the offensive
You want to
line.
grab a linebacker before we wrap this up, or
Yep.
defensive tackle? You want to go
Linebacker.
linebacker? All right. Pretty much all the same guys: Elliott, Botcher, Perkins, Rolder, Fisher, Taurine York.
So I would probably go Fisher or Betcher there.
Yeah.
Betcher's a little bit more athletic, right? He has the safety background, two-sport athlete, like probably a little bit better athlete. Fisher probably has a little bit better instincts. Probably a better football player overall.
Who do they like? Who are they going to like?
I'm gonna say Fisher.
Okay.
I know this is like.
By the way, everybody is Fisher. Like on all the consensus is like 160, 170. You're taking him 131. You think this is real? Like I don't think this is unrealistic for him.
Yeah, no, I think he's a 4th round pick in this
Okay.
draft. I think the thing with Fisher, and I know this is like an easy, lazy comp, but like I do see a lot of Robert Spillane with him. Like he's not the biggest, he's not the most athletic guy, but he tries hard and he also has just like great instincts, especially in coverage. Like Robert Spillane's kind of a sneaky, underrated zone dropper in the middle of the field. Just the way he sees things and can tell what the route combinations and where the offense is trying to throw the ball. I think Fisher has a little bit of that same thing going on. He has some really, really high level zone drops on tape, especially in the college football playoff. So I'm really high on him. I think that he's going to be a better player than he is. Like this time of year is not Aiden Fisher's time of year. Like he's not going to go out to the combine and run a fast 40 and stuff like that. But when you watch the film, he's the best out of this group, in my opinion.
So that gives us a draft of if it loads. Ihanichor, Claire, Crawford, Barber, Fisher in the top 150.
I'm fine with that.
You like that?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I mean, like, honestly, I know people are going to probably be like, where are the receivers? Maybe they don't love Crawford in terms of the edge rushers.
Well, I mean, if they have this draft, it's like, okay, so what time is AJ Brown getting?
Right. And then I think Max Clare is going to be like a really good receiver, like at tight end. I think that he has a chance to be, a high end player at that position as a pass catcher. I do. Like, maybe, his ceiling is probably around a Hunter Henry or something like that, but just talked about it last week, and we talked about it on PU that Hunter Henry might be on a Patriots Hall of Fame trajectory.
People did not like that I had that take.
I don't think you're wrong. I mean, this is year 6 for him on the Patriots. We're getting to it. All right, that was fun. We'll
you
post
like that exercise?
Yeah, we'll post that or
Hopefully
something.
they're picking low enough next year that we get to do it again. I'll tweet out the mock draft.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, pay the bills, and we come back. I see the call screens lit up. We got plenty of emails. We'll get to you guys in the second hour.
Come welcome our newest restaurant additions at Patriot Place. Estella brings a celebration of flavors with a modern fusion menu, exciting cocktails, and brunch available daily beginning at 11 a.m. Enjoy freshly brewed coffee and Mediterranean-inspired breakfast and lunch from Angel's Cafe. Craving the classics? Chick-fil-A makes it easy to grab your favorite with mobile through, carry-out, and dine-in options. Download the Patriot Place Advantage app for special offers and to earn rewards every time you visit. Patriot Place. Shop, dine, enjoy.
The heaviest metal credit card of all time. Wielded at business dinners like a samurai sword. It's a classic corporate power move. But the real power move? Having end-to-end visibility on your most critical shipments. FedEx, the new power move.
Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right.
DraftKings is all about responsible gaming. It's more fun when it's for fun. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction.
Catch-22.
Alice, are you looking for any fresh new furniture before next season starts?
Always.
Bob's Discount Furniture has tons of in-stock styles that ship fast, so you can get game day ready in no time. Shop Bob's for wow-worthy, wow in all capitals, wow-worthy prices on everything from feature-packed reclining sofas and modular sectionals made for winning watch parties to trendy bedrooms and top-rated mattresses designed to help you rest up before your next football marathon. So stop in or shop online and get more for less with Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. You also have, you want a nice couch, Celtics playoffs, Bruins playoffs. Good time of year right now for Boston.
Yeah.
Last night I was at the Bruins game. Saw James Higgins play his first game in Boston. I'm not a hockey guy. I'm not going to pretend that this isn't, Bruins Catch-22 guys, but I was pretty impressed with that kid. That kid can play a little bit. I'm excited about that for the Bruins. So I'm looking forward to the playoffs for both those teams. Some good play-in games last night too, Barthy, for the NBA. But
yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch that second one, but that Hornets.
No, I went to bed. But the
Hornets Heat game
just
was a lot
really
of fun.
quickly, and then we'll take all these calls. But I just wanted to get this off my chest, guys. The Amazon Prime broadcast of these basketball games, Like, can we do better, Jeff Bezos, than this? So first of all,
No.
they have technical difficulties in overtime of a winner, or not a winner go home, because I guess it was 9-10, right? So
that was a winner go home game.
Winner go home, single elimination game in the NBA last night. It's like a 1-point game in overtime with a minute left, and the feed crashes.
Oh my God.
Technical difficulties.
Good Lord, man.
And so then the other issue that they keep having, and we talked about this offline, Alex, is that the audio is ahead of the video.
Yes.
So you hear the play-by-play guy say whether or not a shot went in or not before you see the shot go in or not.
That's just unacceptable.
Right.
That's
so
just unacceptable.
It was
man.
horrible. Like, I was watching Celtics Knicks on there last week, and freaking Josh Hart's ripping the Celtics hearts out, literally. And he's just making threes like he's Steph Curry. It was really freaking annoying. But like literally, maybe a second or two before the ball goes through the hoop, you hear the announcer saying, and it's good, or bang, or whatever. And I'm like, well, this just ruins the whole watching experience of this. So Amazon, let's do better. They're not a sponsor, right? I can rag on Amazon.
Yeah, go for it.
Not only league broadcast.
It's not wow.
I don't get. Well, I'm worried. The league is Thursday Night Football.
You're worried about like the health of the league and the strength of the league and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
And the amount me and Evan talk about the
league's in a great spot.
And the baseball's state of basketball.
Did you know that baseball's in a great spot?
Evan has no interest in that conversation when it comes to sports, which I think is wild.
I just don't understand what it means. Like, great spot for baseball.
It's a
really
business.
Really
it's a
healthy
business.
spot.
Is the business in a good
I don't
spot?
know.
Yes or no?
Are the Red Sox in a good spot?
No. But is the the sport of baseball in a good spot right now? Yes. We'll see what happens when the CBA ends. But
great spot.
The interest is up. It's been a good product for the most part throughout the year. It's a lot. It's a lot more. It's just better than it was a couple years ago.
I can't believe how much golf is in a good spot. People
Golf's
love
a fantastic
watching
great spot.
golf
Did
right
we ever
now.
get-
What is going on, man? Like the Masters is. Everybody I know is watching the Masters. I'm like,
Everybody but one.
yeah,
I
because
get when
he's
everyone's
got
the
sense.
rumored live update
I watched
was
the
supposed
back
to
nine.
be today yet?
I have no
You
idea.
watched like the back four.
Yeah,
Everybody was teasing some big live update, and I haven't seen it
Oh
yet.
God,
No, I have
no.
no
Not that I
idea.
watched
I don't
golf
follow
show.
this at all. I think golf is absolutely awful to watch. It's
It
like
is.
Guantanamo Bay level torture to watch golf for me.
Okay, last thing, and then I promise we'll get back to the draft and the Patriots here. So the Celtics playoff schedule came out yesterday, where all 7 potential games for the first round. The first 4 games are on 4 different platforms. Yeah, ABC,
What?
Peacock, NBC, and Prime. So you need, I guess NBC and Peacock are kind of the same thing. So maybe if you have Peacock, you probably get the NBC game, but you need at least 3 different platforms
Subs to get
to
those
watch
games.
your team in the playoffs.
It's like extortion. It's
And when
wrong.
we talk about the health of the league, as he likes to talk about, that's not a good thing for the NBA. It's not a good thing that I have to go to my phone and look at the app and figure out where the hell is this game on tonight. And then I have to pay for this and I have to pay for that. I really like the NBC broadcast. I think they've done a really good job. The Sunday night basketball thing with Round Ball Rock and Mike Tirico, super into that, has been great all NBA season. But in general, it just that's a problem. Like taking out the fact that the RSNs don't get to broadcast the first round anymore. It should be on network television, right? Give me ABC or NBC if TNT's out. Give me those 2 stations. Don't be putting games on Peacock and Amazon Prime. Like, what are we doing? And Amazon, if your game's going to be on Amazon, time up the audio correctly with the video, okay? Don't ruin a playoff game in the 4th quarter with all this buggy shit. Okay, I'm done. I know people hate when we talk about other sports, but I just had to. I couldn't help myself. All right, let's get to the phones. The calls are lighting up here on the phone screen, so sorry I kept you guys waiting. Patty is in Agawam. What's up, Patty?
Good afternoon, guys.
Hey.
Hey, I want to touch on a few things just real quick on golf. Alex, tell these guys, if you've played golf, it's fun to watch on TV.
That's what I've been
Right?
saying, but I'm trying to get Evan to go play golf, but I don't think it's going to happen.
No, it's not.
All right. So just a few things, and I'll end with a question. First, I'm excited. We're only 8 days away. We get 8 more days. We get to see if we make a pick in the first round. We get to see who the Jets take at 2 overall, who they'll ultimately trade in a couple of years because they suck. And I wanted to, Evan, I had a very serious question for you. I hope this doesn't come off like I'm coming at you, because I'm really not.
Okay.
I'm just very interested in your thought process regarding TJ Parker, and I'll just say that, like, out of all the edge rushers that are kind of in the area where the Patriots are going to be drafting, in no particular order, I love Lawrence, I love Akis, and I love TJ Parker. I'm not really interested in any of the other guys. But you had brought up something to the effect, Evan, yesterday about TJ Parker having a down year, and that got me thinking back to when they took Drake May in 2024, and you made a comment back then about looking at his sophomore year and how he broke out in his sophomore year, and you said the same thing regarding Jamar Chase back in 2019. Obviously, he didn't play in 2020.
Sure.
But, like, these early breakout guys, and I just wanted to know, like, what the differentiation between guys like Chase, guys like May, to, like, Parker, who had really his breakout year last year, and he's still only 21 right now.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point, Patty, and thanks for the call. And that's why I feel like I'm maybe warming up a little bit to the TJ Parker idea, because that's usually my cup of tea.
Right.
Like, usually when an early breakout player, I tend to gravitate towards those guys a little bit more. It's why I was really high on Drake May. It's why I was really high on Will Campbell. Will Campbell was a 21-year-old rookie, that has a ton of development and growth to still go here in the NFL. I'm like lightly back in. I don't want to say that I'm like all the way back in, because that's kind of hypocritical. I haven't been a big TJ Parker fan. The biggest thing I see with TJ Parker that worries me is stiffness and just like a lack of like explosiveness off the ball. Is that because Clemson had a bad season and it all just kind of went up in flames for them, and maybe he wasn't, motivated or whatever? I don't know. I don't know.
Everybody on that defense looked worse last year. Take that for whatever it's worth. Maybe they all exceeded in 2024.
Did they have him in for a 30 visit? Because, like, if I...
Parker?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
See, like, if I was the Patriots, and again, like, I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong, but, like, if I was the Patriots, that's the type of guy that I would want to have in to kind of try to probe, like, what exactly happened last year? Because, like, he had, I think he had 11 sacks and 51 pressures in 24. And then he had 5.5 sacks and 41 pressures in 25. So he went down across the board, less pressure, less sacks. It wasn't just like he was close, but he wasn't finishing or something. It was like all the way down the line. Now, what I do really like about Parker, if you want somebody to set the edge of the defense, he can certainly do that. He's got a really good long arm, really good bull rusher, can go through people, play through tackles. Both as a, he can stab him and long arm him to set the edge. He can also, do that as a pass rusher. He has some really high level drops off the line of scrimmage as well. Like, if you want to do that type of stuff with him, he had one, I forget which game exactly it was. He dropped into the flat underneath the curl and almost picked it off. Like, he's got that ability to do that sort of thing. So I don't hate the player. I would have to ask some difficult questions. Like, if we had the ability to do that, right. I would love to ask some difficult questions. Was he playing through something? Was the program in shambles? What was going on? Because to me, it just looked like he was just kind of didn't have that kind of burst and explosiveness off the ball that you would like to see from like a first round edge player.
I just go back to, if it was just him, I'd be more concerned by it, but it was everybody on that defense. And now there is also something to be said for, they were supposed to be good, they were bad, maybe he just checked out.
But that's like kind of what I would want to add.
Right, that itself could be, or was it just like the coaches were checked out and he wasn't put in a position to succeed, players weren't put in a position to succeed, something like that. It could be any number of things. But it's the fact it wasn't just him, I think, helps his case.
Sure. All right. Marshall's in Maine. What's up, Marshall?
Hey, Evan. Hey, Alex. I hope y'all are having a great day.
You too.
Of course.
I wanted to ask Evan, what is your, why do you like Denzel Boston over Chris Brazzell for the value that you're getting Chris Brazzell at? Because in my personal opinion, I just think Boston had a better QB at Washington than Chris Brazzell had. And if you put Chris Brazzell, 6'4", 200, 4.3 speed, with someone like Drake May, throws the deep ball the best in the league, I feel like that's going to open up a whole extra other game for the Patriots.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I've been making that case for Chris Brazzell this whole time. Marshall, thanks for the call. I love Chris Brazzell. He's my guy in this draft.
Yeah.
Denzel Boston's just a more finished product. Like, Chris Brazzell's still got some development to go.
When I ask you that question about I'm talking about at 31, because you had said at one point you'd consider Brazzell 31. Like, Denzel Boston at 31 versus Chris Brazzell at 63 is a different question.
Yeah, I probably got a little bit too excited about pounding the table for Chris Brazzell because he's one of my guys. He's probably a little too raw to take at 31. You know, there's some catch point stuff. There's some route tree things. Like, he doesn't run the most diverse route tree. A lot of that's the Tennessee offense, and I got to get my back up about that kind of stuff because it's like, are you telling me about the Tennessee offense or are you telling me about Chris Brazzell? When you say he only lined up on one side of the field. Well, is that because he can only line up on one side of he can't go left? He's Zoolander now, right? Like, he can't go left? Or is it because that's just what they do in that style of offense and in that system? You know, there's a lot of questions too. Like, people say that he takes routes off. They literally tell them to do that. They tell on run plays, they literally say to their receivers, don't waste your energy running down the field. They don't believe in like clear outs like that, in the run game. So they tell them to take the play off and just don't move off the line of scrimmage. So some of that stuff with Chris Brazzell is about Tennessee. It's not about Chris Brazzell. Now, with Brazzell specifically, he is a little bit undersized in terms of the frame, and like, he's thin, like he's 6'4", he's only 195 pounds. It's not quite Tyquan Thornton. He's not 6'3", 175, or 180. But he's still a little bit on the thinner, side. He's a lankier type of build. And then the catch point stuff, like, he doesn't always attack the ball. Sometimes he lets the ball come into his chest a little bit too often, especially for a guy that has that kind of catch radius. You would like to see him be a little bit more proactive about going and catch the football. But those are all things that I think can develop. The route tree stuff, I don't worry as much about the route tree stuff because I'm not going to ask him to run all these different routes. Like, I want him to run something underneath, like a slant or an in or something like that. A second level dig and out, can you sequence those two routes off together and then obviously take the top off? Like, I want him to run like 4 or 5 routes. I'm not drafting him to run 9 routes. If I wanted to draft that player, I'd go draft KCC instead. Like, if I wanted somebody that could really break down and run the full route tree. With Denzel Boston, he's more polished. Like, he's just a more complete player right now. He does have multiple branches. His catch point skills are far superior to Chris Brazzell's. He's a much better player at the catch point in contested situations, playing through contact. I don't even think it's close there. Now, Brazzell's faster, but Boston's definitely a much better pure hands catcher of the football.
And I think you said at the beginning, he's more polished.
Yeah.
That's the big one. He's more polished.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Who we got next? Eldred's next. What's up, Eldred?
Hey, how you doing, Alex? How you doing, Evan?
Good.
I'm going to disagree with you 100%, bro. If we can get him at 31, I'll take him over Boston. Boston can't separate. He ain't. He's a good catch radius. He's good at that. But Brazzell can block, and he can run more routes than 3. Look at Tulane's tape. He didn't get 190 yards against Georgia by just running 9 routes. He burnt that secondary. And he also could beat man press at 190-something pounds. So at 21, you don't think he can get about 10, 15 more pounds on him?
Yeah, I think he could.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'd rather have him to separate the speed so somebody else will back up. But that's a pipe dream of mine because I just hope the Patriots don't get duped into not drafting a wide receiver. Thinking they're going to get A.J. Brown because knowing Roseman, if he get what he wants, Patriots ain't nowhere close for what you call. Even though they got Wicks, the other traded for Wicks last week. That means Brown might be on the way out, but Roseman is a businessman. He's going to get his first and second round. Don't care where he want to go to. He's going to get his.
Yes.
So I just hope we don't get duped on that. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. No.
Get your receiver at 31.
I'm with you, Eldred. I'm with you. I don't know about 31, but I definitely feel myself thinking you can't just let the Eagles back you into this corner with A.J. Brown, where you have to take make a trade for A.J. Brown. Look, we don't have to keep going on and on about Brazzell. I love the guy. So I'm hoping that, he ends up a Patriot. Based off of some of these projections, I think it was Mel Kiper this morning. He had his mock draft out today that had them being able to take Brazel at 63. So maybe we all win here. I
think Brugler had him in like the third round.
Yeah,
right?
maybe I get the player that I want, and they get him in the second round instead of the first round, and everybody comes home happy, right? I think that's a possibility there. He said one other thing that I wanted to touch on, but I think we talked enough about Denzel Boston and Chris Brazel. So Zach is in New Hampshire. What's up, Zach?
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. Evan, I just saw your big board with Kenyon Sadiq at number 1. I was just wondering how high do you think they'd have to trade up to get him, and what would be like your ideal usage of a playmaker like that as a rookie and in his career?
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Zach, and thanks for plugging the big board. So the big board is officially up. Is my not my one thing, but like my biggest thing that I do every year with the top 50, and this is my my thing of record. I don't we do mock drafts, but we mostly just do those because people like them. It's not really my thing. The big board is like, if I say that I hit on players they actually drafted, this is where I source it. I put Sadiq at the top. I was reluctant to do that because I really don't think he's going to be there. But what I went back to in my mind was Christian Gonzalez in 2023.
Right.
I didn't think Gonzalez was going to be there either, but I loved him. I just thought that he was an awesome player, awesome prospect. And so I just put him up there at number 1 on the big board because it felt right. And then he ends up falling to the Patriots because of God only knows what. Like, he wasn't alpha enough or something for the people picking ahead of them, which is ridiculous. But
Emmanuel Forbes went ahead of him, right? Is that who it was?
Yeah, one spot ahead of him. Forbes has kind of had a little bit of a resurrection with the Rams, but he's certainly not Christian Gonzalez. So I put Sadiq at the top because I kind of thought it was similar to with Gonzalez. The other reason why I put him there, the number 1 guy, I just kind of want to be like a really special player. Like, I don't want to put like a guy I just kind of like at number 1.
2? Now you're going to dump him number 2.
Mesidor was number 2. But, the age thing with me. So, like, it just didn't feel right. Like, he was a little too old for my liking. He's 25. You mentioned the arm length with Ruben Bain. Cassius Howell has the same thing. I'm pretty sure that there hasn't been a 25-year-old rookie draft in the first round in like a decade either.
I haven't seen that stat. That makes sense.
So Mesidor is would be, it's not quite Brandon Whedon, right? We're not drafting like a 28-year-old in the first round.
It's not a quarterback.
But he's older. So the role for Sadiq is an interesting one. I didn't really think of this comparison, and some other people did, like the Vernon Davis comparison that's been going around. I think that's probably a more apt comparison than some of. I couldn't really think of a great one. Like, he reminds me the most of in the current tight ends of like Harold Fannin, but he's a much better athlete and a bigger like name brand, and like, went to Oregon instead of Bowling Green and like, that. So I kind of called him big school Harold Fannin, just like, like elite level prospect, but similar mold as Harold Fannin. The role to me for Sadiq early on would still be backing up Hunter Henry. No, I think they would play a lot more 12, and Sadiq.
And you're talking about probably like what 45-50%.
Yeah, because like Sadiq has a lot of flexibility. Like, he's more of an athlete, so he can move it around the formation a little bit more. I think that if they want to start getting a little bit more involved in the bootlegs and the outside zones and all that stuff to feature that moving the pocket a little bit more with Drake May, he's an assassin on those types of routes. Like, crossing routes at different levels, wheels out of the backfield where he kind of just like sneaks up the sideline, seam runs, obviously. Like, he's going to just his speed and his size, he's going to eat people up with that. I think he can block a little bit better than people think. I hear sometimes he's not much of a blocker. I think that's sort of just judging him based off the size. Like, he's only 240 pounds. I think he's a little bit better blocker, but he's a true like F move tight end. Like, he's not a hand in the dirt inline guy. I don't think. I think he's going to be a little bit more. You're going to have to be a little bit more creative with his usage than just putting him as like that traditional tight end. But I do think that, because I think people hear that, Alex, and they probably think a little bit of like Jonnu Smith in this offense. And is there too much of that? I think Sadiq's a little bit looser than Jonnu Smith as a mover. Like, I think he's got a little bit more quickness and twitch at the top of the route that he'll be able to get open. Is he Hunter Henry, where he's going to settle and sit and open up and attack leverage and do all the right things as a receiver. Maybe not right away. That's probably the part of his game that needs a little bit of developing, but he's young and he'll figure that out. The athleticism and the mold is just too good. Like all the clay. Speaking of the tight ends,
real quick, people love our mock draft on Twitter.
Good. I feel like that's.
I was getting a little worried when people like it too much. Like, were we unrealistic or
tackle in round 1, and then you tap into the depth of the edge class?
Yeah,
that feels to me like that's the way that they're leaning. Now, I don't have any inside information. I'm just reading the tea leaves.
Sure.
We're
listening to what Eliot Wolf said.
That's how I feel about it. Good question here from James in Rhode Island on the tight end, since we were just talking about Sadiq. He said, would you rather draft a guy who can block but might never really develop as a receiver, or a guy who has receiving skills but may never develop as a blocker? This is the question.
Right. Well, that's the extreme version of the question.
Yes.
A guy that will never be a receiver?
Yes.
Like, no, I don't want to draft Lee Smith. No offense to Lee Smith. I don't want to draft Lee Smith in the top
late
100.
career Dwayne Allen.
Right, late career Dwayne Allen. What I said from the beginning is, if you show me a guy that's like 85% the receiver, but twice as good of a blocker or more as the next closest guy, give me the second guy. Give me the guy that, he's close as a receiver. Maybe he's a little bit behind. He's not quite as dynamic, but he's going to be a legitimate factor in the run game. I would rather that guy than the guy that's the pure receiver.
So,
but if the guy's never going to be able to catch, you have to. I hope people don't think we went too far in the other direction either. I didn't mean to do that. Tight end needs to be part of this offense in the passing game. Drake May likes throwing to tight ends. He likes throwing to big targets. It's always been a big position under Josh McDaniels. Has to be able to contribute as a wide receiver, obviously. But if you're talking about, I'll put numbers on it. A guy whose upside is like a 1,000-yard receiver versus a guy whose upside is like 800 yards, but he's also going to be a legit factor in the run game.
Oh, yeah.
Give me the guy who's going to go for 800 yards and can block his ass off.
Yeah, 100%. I think that the thing at tight end that I sort of gravitate towards is who are the guys that can block that also have really good athletic profiles.
Yeah.
Because my guess is that guy probably wasn't tapped into enough as a receiver.
Oscar Delp.
Just because of the nature of the offense that he played in college.
Well, and colleges as a whole just don't really involve tight ends anymore. It's kind of, the position has almost become devalued in the way like running backs have at the college level.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest disconnects between college and the pros.
So if you can give me, just for a couple examples, Delp is probably like the top 100 example of this.
Yeah.
Roush had a little bit of receiving production at Stanford last year.
Roush didn't he have like 600 yards?
Yeah, he had a little bit of production.
That's for college football. That's legit.
Delp, guys like on day 3, like Bentley, Borkicker.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting one, Raridan. I'm not sure they're super high on Raridan. Endries, like guys like that have, really good athletic profiles, just to use a number like relative athletic score, RAS over 9. Marlon Klein from Michigan, another one, but didn't necessarily get the volume of targets to produce, but can block and have the athletic profile. We've seen that then translate in the pros to really good players.
There's also
obviously Kittle's like the apex, like he's the ceiling, but it's happened in other places too.
There are some guys like Bentley where they're just not used as receivers. Like, okay, we're going to run 2 tight ends, second tight end blocks, but then the top tight end graduates or moves on or transfers. So then that, Bentley didn't have a ton of chances to be a receiver.
Yeah, and he put up some production last year when he finally did get the chance.
Right, exactly. So there's that thing too. I'll give you another one. I don't remember what his RAS score was. But when I had Dane Brugler on my podcast last week, and I asked Dane Brugler for my guys, because who's a better person to ask?
Sure.
And the first guy he said was Riley Nowakowski from Indiana.
Yeah, he's just a little undersized. Like he's more of like an H-back to me.
But I think he fits in that category.
Yeah, I just think that history tells us that athleticism wins at that position. That's just, I would say, more so in some ways than college production.
Yeah.
The bigger translation to the pros there is just pure athleticism at that spot. If there's any position where like combine and pro day testing still matters, it's tight end. Like that's the one position where it really translates. So if you can get a guy that is already a pretty good blocker on film in college and then also has like a really good athletic profile, I think that's the sweet spot to me. I'd much rather teach a guy the nuances of receiver, then have to like expect Eli Stowers to develop as a blocker.
Right.
Now, he mentioned in the email Max Clare. I think Max Clare can block enough.
I think fine.
He's somewhere in the middle, like between Stowers and Roush.
Yeah.
He's like in the middle of there. He's not a nothing
functional blocker.
Yeah, he's not. And that's why I kind of compare him to Hunter Henry, who I think is a functional blocker.
If a guy has, I think he could be a better blocker than Henry is. Maybe he's not right now. I think he could be, and not a lot, but a little. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, he's probably not quite the receiver that Stowers is.
Right.
But I'd put them in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
And he is. They're not in the same ballpark as blockers. So that's what I'm talking about. In that sense, give me that guy that's going to offer that.
Yep. All right. Here's some would you rathers or like pick'ems for us, kind of what we were just doing with the PFF exercise from Marcel. At 31, he has 3 different scenarios for us. All right. Yeah. Denzel Boston or KC Concepcion?
Oh, KCC, especially if they're getting AJ Brown.
KCC is a better player. I think Denzel Boston's more what they're trying to get.
But if they know they're getting AJ Brown.
Well, they're not drafting both. They're not doing both. Think they're going to draft a first-round receiver and trade for AJ Brown?
If it's a guy like KCC, they could. Not if it's Denzel Boston. That's my point.
I think it's too much invested in the receiver at that point. In terms of capital, you've invested in.
Fair.
TJ Parker or Zion Young? I go Parker here. Yeah. Cassius Howell or Malachi Lawrence? I go Howell, but
I think they might go.
Lawrence is built better for sure. Yeah. I think Howell's a bit more like refined, more skilled player right now, but Lawrence is built better.
Lawrence.
I could see that.
It's the baseball idiom. If 2 guys run to first base in 5 seconds, but one guy does with perfect form and one guy does with sloppy form, who do you draft?
I don't know. I always get this wrong.
You draft the guy with the sloppy form because if they're both getting there in 5 seconds,
you teach the guy.
Sloppy form, better form. He's going to have shorter time.
Okay, I got you. All right, I could feel that. I would go Howell, but I think Lawrence. There's definitely a case that Lawrence has higher upside
because you said Howell's more polished, which is true, but I think they're kind of close. So, the guy that's a little less...
Malachi Lawrence has this. He has this little like false step.
Yeah.
In his get off as when he rushes the passer, I want to say it depends on which side he's on. I guess his front foot steps underneath itself twice. So he puts the front foot on the ground in the same spot.
Yeah.
Before he goes forward, and like that little thing. If he could just like learn to just kind of come out of the gates like a sprinter, where like all your momentum is moving forward, even that little bit of tweak to his footwork, I think could go a long way and like really help him really unlock that explosiveness. That sounds like such a little stupid nuanced thing. So that's why I'm saying that to sell you on Malachi Lawrence, right? Like that. Yeah. These are the little nuances.
Like that's very coachable
because he's very, he's new to rushing on the ball. He's played off the ball earlier on in his college career. All right, at 63, these are not exactly the same players, but it's fine. Jack Golday or Jashawn Barham?
Barham.
I keep saying Jack. Jake Golday.
Jake, I know who you meant.
Yeah, I don't know why I
think
keep
I go
calling him
Barham
Jack.
there. I like the versatility.
Yeah, Barham's definitely more of an edge rusher than Golday's is pure off-ball
Golday,
linebacker.
Golday's just going to come downhill, stop the run. He's good at it.
Chris Bell or Jeremy Bernard? It's a good one.
Oh, man. And I like Jeremy. I think he's not getting enough credit.
Yeah, because he's not
play.
He's not sexy. He doesn't do. He's not
Alabama
splashy.
isn't what it was.
I know, but like running like wide open through zones just doesn't do it for me.
Especially when Ty Simpson's missing you left and right.
Yeah, he's not as flashy as some of these other guys.
If not for the ACL, it's Chris Bell.
Yeah.
And for the Patriots, there's a better fit for Bell than Bernard. Oh, it's a tough one for the Patriots.
I'm going Jeremy Bernard.
I think I have to go Bernard because of the knee.
Yeah,
because of the knee.
Bell too.
Those are 2 of my favorite receivers in the draft. Whoever sends that email, that's mean making me pick.
This is a me thing probably, but it's just Patriots wide receiver PTSD. Chris Bell is in that archetype of like he's either going to be Laviska Shenault or he's going to be AJ Brown, and there's like no in between.
Yeah,
right. Like he's AJ Brown, maybe a little bit Deebo Samuel, like that. But I'd say more AJ Brown because of the downfield like receiving skills that he has. That's like the ceiling. Then the floor is like all these other guys that we've tried in this mold. Xavier Legette,
right?
Laviska Shenault. Go on down the line. Like N'Keal Harry was not as explosive as those guys. but similar. Jennings Dunker or Caleb Tiernan?
Jennings Dunker. We actually did that one earlier, didn't
Yeah,
we?
Dunker's nastier. Tiernan is probably a better pass blocker, though. He has a bunch on at 95. I'll just do a couple. This is a good one. Dylan Everett or Takario Davis from Washington? Dalen, sorry, yep. Dalen.
I really like Dalen Everett. We haven't talked about him a lot because I don't know if they'll go corner that high.
Yeah.
He looks like a Patriots corner, man. He really does. And he had some slip-ups in big games, which is probably why he's not a top 100 pick, and that is a valid reason for concern. I love his upside.
Yeah.
I think he is legit, like, number 2 corner upside.
Yeah, I'd probably go Dalen Everett.
Yeah, I'd go Dalen Everett.
Takario Davis, I liked, kind of has that Brandon Browner, like, size thing going on. He got beat a lot inside, though, like slants and stuff like that. Gave him a tough time. This was Dane Brugler's, had his 7-round mock draft today.
Okay.
I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll just read you through 131, what he has for the Patriots. Blake Miller, Dejon Stribling at 63, Bryce Betcher at 95, then Max Llewellyn, I always butcher his name, and then Nate Borkicker, A&M at 131. My takeaway from this is I don't dislike any of these players. Maybe a little bit late on edge. I would have gone edge a little bit earlier than Llewellyn in the 4th round. My bigger takeaway, though, is that all these guys outside of Miller, the rest of the names I mentioned, I was hoping that they were all going to be there a round later than Dane took them.
Well, I think that might also, that was my first thought too, but maybe that's the adjustment we need to make of, we used to look, I shouldn't say we used to, the last 2 years, we're looking at the 3rd round as really the end of the 2nd.
Right.
Now we're looking at the 3rd round as really the start of the 4th. So it's almost like a 2-round difference. What the Patriots' 3rd round pick was last year versus this year.
Like if you told me that they went,
that still feels Stribling's the big. Butcher I could see Stribling. That's high.
If you told me that they went Miller,
and
then put an edge at 63,
right,
and then Stribling Betcher, I'd be like, hell of a draft. All these guys feel like they took him around earlier, which I think is more about us than it is about Dane because he's Dane, so he probably knows what he's talking about more than we do. That worries me. That mock draft worries me.
A little bit.
That they're going to have to go earlier on these guys.
Is it worth it for Blake Miller to get to 31? Is it all worth it if they take guys 1 round earlier? Because Miller should not be there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, maybe. I just feel like it's a round early for all those other guys.
But Miller's such a fall.
And I wonder if maybe in a draft like this is just what you got to do.
Yeah.
All right. Here's some questions from Tim in California. Just some draft, would you rathers or whatever.
Okay.
What is the earliest you would take Adam Randall from Clemson? I'm going to say 5th round. I think
I'll say 171.
Yeah, 171. I think I'd be okay.
If he really blew him away in the interview, he's going to return kicks too. He's the guy that's going to play at least on special teams. I'll say 171.
Yeah.
Or call 150 if they trade up or trade back.
Yeah, I think 171 is comfortable.
Yeah.
Over under 1.5 linebackers taken. I'm assuming he's talking true inside linebackers, not edge rushers, but linebackers.
Over under 1.5. I'm going to say under, but do they draft one of those bigger special team safeties like a Michael Taffy or somebody? I'll say under, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, I wonder if they draft like you said, like a bigger safety.
Well, who was that Missouri linebacker that they met with who's going to be a 7th round pick and he's just going to play special teams? He's a linebacker.
Right. Something like that.
Yeah. I'll say over under 1.5 linebackers, rookie linebackers that play significant snaps for them this year. I'll say under. Significant defensive snaps.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's one linebacker investment, maybe one a special
teams, but he's listed as a linebacker. Yeah.
What is your guess on trading picks? Is it more likely to add picks for next year or move up in the 3rd round?
So who is it today? DJ Dale Jeremiah had his call, and he mentioned that nobody wants to trade 2027 picks.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Which we talked about at the top of the show. So what was the other part of the question?
Add picks for next year or move up in the 3rd round?
I think they're going to try to move up. But what I think we're going to see, and Evan, I'm going to crush you here.
Yes.
But they over under 9.5 total selections for the Patriots.
I'm going to say over. because
I think it's over.
I think it's easy to sit here and say that they would love to trade the picks. Actually executing and figuring out where to trade the picks is another.
Well, the other part of that is because they still have the flexibility, but do they go down and move up and use some of those picks to get a little higher than they otherwise would? So, for instance, going off of the last couple of years, the Vikings, that's a trade down, but pretend they're on the other side of this. Just a trade like this.
Yeah.
In 2025, the Vikings traded 97 and 187 for 102 and 142. So they moved down 5 spots on day 3.
Yeah.
But they moved up, or on day 2, but they moved up 40 spots on day 3. So you move down 5 to move up 40. I think we're going to see them in one way or the other make a trade like that. Do they move, 95? Do they move up there and then one of those 6th-round picks becomes a late 7th, right? Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe they move down from, say, 63 or even 31 and turn one of those 6 into like a 4th or something like that. I think you're going to see them make those kinds of trades. So I do think they're going to move around the board. The idea that they're going to like throw 4 picks at a team to move up, that hasn't been their MO historically. Yeah. So it might be more just we're going to move in one spot here and another spot there.
Doesn't feel very Green Bay like, right? Like if you want to be a draft and develop team, then you got to make picks. You don't want to consolidate. You want to make 10, 12 picks a draft. Right. So there was a question yesterday that we talked about on PU.
So right here, sorry, I'll give you one more because I just found this applies more to them.
Yeah.
In 2024, this is really, as Felger would say, playing with yourself on the draft board.
Your favorite thing to do.
The Niners moved from 63 to 64. They moved back 1 spot.
Yeah.
But then they turned 211 into 173.
Okay.
So or here's another one from last year. The Lions moved up from 60 to 57. Or let's go the other way. The Broncos moved down from 57 to 60, and they turned 230 into 130. So they moved back 3 spots in the 2nd round and then moved up 100 spots on day 3. That's the kind of trade I think the Patriots are going to try to make.
Okay, so yesterday on PU, and I is there a game being paid at like Wrigley Field or something, college football game? Like Notre Dame?
Yeah, they've done that the last couple of years. Northwestern played there last year.
I don't know. There's some game that is on the college football schedule next year.
Upcoming?
In 2026.
I'm sure Northwestern usually plays.
No, it was somebody better than that. It was like Notre
Dame's played games there.
Notre Dame versus somebody at some Wrigley Field or some like neutral site game.
Notre Dame's playing here next year.
No, it wasn't that.
It's Navy.
So the question was, would we go to this game that's being played somewhere? I don't know. This would be better if I remembered. Or the Iron Bowl.
Iron Bowls.
So I said,
so high on my bucket list.
Forget about this other game because it was going to be like a 10-7 rock fight. I'm going to the SEC game in the Iron Bowl.
Especially if it's at Bryant Denny.
Yeah.
That is, in terms of my bucket list of football games to go to, especially Army Navy wasn't ahead of it, but it was up there. But especially now they've done Army Navy.
Yeah.
Iron Bowl of all the football games I go to, and I've been with Super Bowl. Iron Bowl might be number 1.
I'd go with you to the Iron Bowl. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Because your thing is always like you'll watch high level anything.
Yes, that's true.
And that is as college football-y as it gets. That's right up there with any of the rivalry games at LSU. You go to a night game at LSU, that's going to be an all-timer. Red River's high on my list. You would like because Red River is like there's other stuff going on. It's not just the football. Michigan, Notre Dame, obviously. I wish they'd bring back Michigan, Ohio State. I wish they'd bring back Michigan, Notre Dame.
I like that one. So I guess there's a place
and Penn State. Any rivalry game at Penn State, Pitt, Penn State, West Virginia, Penn State, Ohio State.
There's this place called Dreamland Barbecue. I guess it must be like the big barbecue spot down either in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. I don't know which one. So it said over under 10 ribs eaten at Dreamland Barbecue. If we're going to a place with ribs for barbecue,
legit
over 10 by a lot.
Hang on. So the neutral site games next year, like the ones that are.
I thought it was Notre Dame, but
North Carolina, TCU, and Ireland.
No, it wasn't that.
Is week 0.
No,
NC State at Virginia. That's in Brazil.
No, it was in America.
All right. Let me see. That's at Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta, Nissan Stadium, Hard Rock. Wisconsin, Notre Dame at Lambeau.
That's what it was. That's
I'm
what
not
it was.
going to the Iron Bowl over that. That's probably going to be awesome.
Oh my God!
That's probably going to rule.
It's going to be 10-7.
And you've been to Lambeau in the fall. It's on September 6th, so you're not going there when it's freezing.
I know.
Lambeau is high on my.
cool.
I'd rather go for a Packers game, but
I was hoping this is going to sound
Wisconsin, Notre Dame at Lambeau. That would go kind of crazy.
Lambeau. This is going to sound bad. Lambeau. I don't want to say it was underwhelming because that's the wrong way to put it.
Yeah.
You're in a place where there's a lot of history and you can feel that. The stadium itself is just a football stadium. Like, it's not.
I don't know about that. I think this is a you thing.
So no, because like, for example, and maybe this applies more to baseball than it does to football, but like, it's a dump. But like Fenway Park, like it's the Green Monster. It's like
you don't have like the signature features.
Yeah, right.
Because it's a football field.
Yeah,
baseball's always going to be different when it comes to stadiums.
We were in San Francisco. We went to a Giants game. That is a beautiful
Love
ballpark.
That ballpark. Love that ballpark.
San Diego. I know Petco's
I've never been to Petco. I want to
great
go.
ballpark. Like the Lambeau's, it's a football stadium now. It's extremely, you can feel, like, you can literally feel the frozen tundra and Bart Starr and Curly Lambeau and
you know what always stands out to me?
Vince Lombardi.
This is dumb, but they have that yellow fence around. No other league or no other stadium has something that pops like that right around the sideline. Specifically a fence. It feels old school. I think I'd like it. The other neutral site game we could go to, Paul Brown Stadium, Miami versus Cincinnati. We go see Trags. And then the other one I should put on the list that's really good, and it sucks. They're not doing it like they've done in the past because the stadium in Jacksonville is under construction. Florida, Georgia, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
Yeah.
Is a neutral site game every year. And I actually have friends who went to that. It's supposed to be a ton of fun. But while that conversation is under construction, they're doing it at Mercedes-Benz this year. And then I think they're going to do it at Hard Rock. They're doing it somewhere at an NFL stadium for the 2 years it's under construction.
All right, back to some of the draft stuff. I'm going to the Iron Bowl. If we're going anywhere, we're going to the
every
Iron Bowl.
year when the schedule comes out, the first thing I look at is, can I get a bye Thanksgiving week so I can do Thanksgiving without working, fly down there Friday, go to the Iron Bowl.
The only other game, and I've been to Michigan Stadium already, but Michigan-Ohio State is on
Ohio State would be great.
List too.
Yeah, no, that's up there. But the Iron Bowl is, and I wish I got to see Saban coach it because this is all a Saban thing for me. But like,
jeez. Of course it is.
You don't have Cortica on your list? Well, I guess you've been to that.
I've been to that.
I've never been as a fan. Me and my friend said we were going to go back after we graduated to get the fan experience.
We probably talked about this before.
I think it was the bye week last week, too. The Patriots last year. The Patriots bye week last year.
I never went to Cortland. I never went to Cortica at Cortland.
Cortland Stadium was actually cool. For
I
like
went
D3.
to the two in Ithaca, and then I went to the one at MetLife Stadium.
I didn't like they did it at MetLife.
I went there.
It's cool that it's on campus.
Because so they played on Saturday at MetLife Stadium, Ithaca, Cortland, for people that are wondering. And then Eagles Patriots was in Philly the next day.
You're on your way down there.
So I was already on my way down there, and my college roommates and I, we went to Cortica, and then they're all from Philly, so we drove after the game to Philly afterwards. So one player that I just watched recently, so this is top of mind, Jack Kelly from BYU, the linebacker from BYU. Any thoughts on him? I thought what was interesting about him is when I was watching him, I was like, if we were still doing the Belichick hybrids thing, where it's like we're playing guys on and like kind of like the Jelani Tavai role in the defense, and Jack Kelly would be on all of our big boards and mock drafts. Didn't really feel like a Vrabel type of player. He's like big, burly, like kind of linebacker, probably like an early down
special teams guy.
Yeah,
it's kind of raw. Matt with him.
I don't think that he's more of like he just seemed very like heavy and stiff to me, but he would have been an interesting player in the Belichick defense.
Yeah.
What was the other thing that someone emailed in, and now I don't remember which email it was. There's a lot of emails, so I appreciate that. Just some more like guys I'm not as familiar with some of these guys. Aaron Graves from Iowa, defensive lineman.
You might have me there.
No, I don't know. Some of these people are getting deep, Barth. We're getting. Oh, here's the email I wanted to read. This is a joke one, so don't get too serious. Yesterday, you participated in the Felger and Maz Big Board.
Oh, okay. I know.
He participated in the Felger and Maz Big Board, and for those that don't know, they take a football with a marker on the end of it, and they throw it at was it Lindy's or like
the Lindy's magazine up on a board.
On a board, and then the idea is that they can literally throw darts at a magazine and do just as good as you and I do at predicting what the Patriots are going to do.
I did tie them last year, so
yeah. Okay, so they throw the marker and whatever, and you got to throw.
Yeah.
And you hit the camera on the top of the board.
Which I'm glad I brought that. We were having meetings before. And I was like, we should put a camera on the top of the board. So I'm glad I came up with that, because otherwise it would just sail the board. No, it was funny. I said they're tricky. It's going to sound like an excuse. They're tricky to throw because there's a marker in it. So the weight's weird. I was saying
it's an excuse.
Last time I did it a couple years ago, I overthrew it.
Okay.
And I was saying to Kevin Majori, the producer, like, I'm going to hit the camera. I said that to him before. I was like, I'm going to huck this too high. I'm going to hit the camera.
Okay.
During the break, I got some warm-up throws in, and I was putting it right in the middle of the board. But what I forgot was they don't magnet. It's a huge whiteboard. I mean, it's massive.
Yeah.
They don't magnet the magazine in the middle of the board. Felger puts it at the top. So that threw me off. So now I was like, oh, I got to aim higher than I have been. I'd like, if I was aiming for the camera and hit it, that is an unbelievably impressive throw. You have to admit that. That is not a big camera. And I hit it right in the freaking lens, too.
The best
little Logitech camera.
Okay, first of all,
I'm proud
not giving
of it.
you,
at the end of the day,
I'm not giving you credit when the goal was to hit the magazine and not the camera.
Yeah, I wish I picked a better player.
Okay, so the magazine, you're aiming for the magazine and you didn't hit the magazine.
First of all, the magazine is not far from the camera. It's not like I totally missed it.
Okay, but you didn't. You missed.
What
the
are your
magazine.
thoughts on Brandon Cleveland?
I have not.
I did not think so.
I
missed the magazine. It wasn't a great throw.
The other,
but
the
you
other
know what?
thing,
At the end of the day, it's all about content, and that was great content.
The other thing that I thought was terrific about it was the still frame right before he takes out the camera, and you're just in the pose.
You see that follow
You're in
through?
the follow
That follow through was clean.
You're in the follow through. Jim Murray's in the corner just laughing hysterically at you, and you just are locked in. Like you look like you're Chris Sale Game 7 of the World Series striking out Manny Machado, whatever game that was.
I needed to keep my elbow in a little bit more. My elbow, and Jim Louth reminded me before, my elbow popped out a little bit. I could have done a little better with my feet. I opened up probably a little too much, but
you looked like you were like that was 2 outs, 9th inning, 1-run game 7 of the World Series.
I wanted to because I was excited. You know what it was? You know how Drake May talked about how sometimes like at the beginning of games he'd be a little too amped up, and that's why some of those passes were high.
You're going
I was a little amped up, and I threw the ball a little high.
You were nervous because
I understand where Drake May is coming from.
It's just like that.
A relatable experience.
Oh my gosh, it's just like
we got to get you in there for a throw.
No, we don't want to.
We do.
We don't want to embarrass me like that.
No, I think we're gonna have to have. I might arrange this. I might make this happen. Get you in for a throw.
You know, the funny thing is I was, whenever things like this kind of come up, like, listen, I was a terrible athlete. I'm not gonna sit here and claim that I was a good athlete, but I did play sports growing up. I'm 33 now. I'm going on 34. It's been a while since I've like competitively played a sport. Like I used to, but like that. The last time that I played like a competitive sporting event was probably like 10 years ago now. Like it's been a minute.
Well, you rag on me for like, oh, I'm going to go throw a football around on the beach or whatever.
Come on.
You never know when you're going to need the arm. Just keep it a little warmed up. Keep it a little loose.
All right.
Evan Hush.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
I'm proud of that throw. I thought it was going to go. Because I thought it was going to go a lot worse.
How you missed the magazine? The whole point of the
we got good
exercise
content out of it.
Them...
We got good content out of it. My form wasn't bad, and again, I thought it was going to. The last one I did was legit bad. I think I was throwing for like punters too, and I really missed. So next year I'll hit the magazine if they let me throw.
Okay,
we're getting closer.
So
it's all coachable. There are issues there, but they're coachable.
The look on their face and the follow through. You know what it reminded me of? In Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Carlton takes the shot at the end of the game. That's exactly. And he's just standing there, and he's like, you think that he made the shot, and then the camera pans, and he just misses the hoop altogether. That was what it was. So we picked on you a little bit. This is from Chris in Foxborough. He said last year he emailed into the show. I think it was a Patriots Unfiltered email, and he called me Evan a wannabe Alex Barth, and apparently that got a lot of people, Paul and female Alex, to call her female Alex.
How did I not hear about this?
Got them all riled up, and they thought it was funny.
I like that.
But he did say that this year he is more in line with my takes. He agrees with me. So he said his ideal draft scenario is to trade 31 to the mid to late 40s while also acquiring a second rounder in 2027. Draft Gabe Jackus, I don't know what to call him. Akis, and then using their second round pick in a fourth rounder to take Chris Brazzell. So basically, you end up in the draft with Akis and
So your
Brazzell.
guy and my guy.
Yeah. That he said, not sure what made Evan become a genius this year, but keep it up. I did hear about the Catch-22 drinking game, which I brought up a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And he said, every time I say give them their flowers, they should drink. Yeah, that's a good one.
What was I going to... I totally just lost my... Oh, it's funny having done this now for a few years. Like, there are people who will be like, oh, I've always agreed with him, but this year, like, it's so horrible. It takes me. Did he forget what he's talking about? His head got too big for him. Or there's some people who you notice always disagree with you. And like, it's weird. I'm disagreeing with him this year. It's almost like every draft is different and every offseason is different, and things are going to change year to year. You have your core beliefs, but things are going to change year to year based on the situation on the roster and what the board looks like. So I would say never hold one draft entirely against us, but also don't take one draft as the reason that our word is gospel. Like, some years we're going to disagree. Some years we're not. We might go a few years in a row we disagree. We might go a few years in a row we don't. We really haven't had a draft where the two of us truly disagree on something.
No.
As long as we've been doing this. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot of fun.
We'll be older and more agitated.
Well, we had the coaching search. That was
true.
probably the closest
and we were
came to
both
that.
kind of right about
well, one guy, one coach of the year, and went to the Super Bowl. But...
Ben Johnson did not have a bad year.
One guy went to the literal Super Bowl in his first year.
Had an easier path.
Went to the Super Bowl in his first year. But it's it's year to year. Like, of course it's going to change every year. Of course it is.
All right, here's an actual football question. If the Patriots were to draft a guard that could start day one, which is picking up steam for whatever reason, just to drive me nuts, what kind of conversation would they get from Mike Onwenu if they drafted a guard, let's say first 2 rounds, that could play right away, and they wanted to trade Mike Onwenu? So he's got like $12 million in base salary, so that's what gets traded, right? All the bonuses and stuff fall off. That counts as dead money towards the cap. So a $12-ish million guard, day 3 pick, maybe. Like, so you're not getting a top 100 pick, especially not in 2027.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, I've seen people say they're going to trade him during the draft. I don't think he would do it that quickly. I'll give you the last couple years here. I'm trying to find like a legit comp for Onwenu. Trevor Penning was traded for a 6th. That was during the trade deadline.
Yeah, he's a better player than Trevor Penning.
Evan Ingram went for a 6th. That was during the draft.
Ed Ingram, you mean? Evan Ingram's the tight end.
Ed Ingram, yes.
Yeah, Ed Ingram might be a little bit more comparable.
This is going to March 2025. Kenyon Green in a 5th went for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in a 6th.
Okay, Kenyon Green stinks.
Okay. Joe Tooney went for a 4th.
So that's probably the ceiling of the trade, right? Now, Onwenu's younger, but he's worse.
It's also
but he's younger.
Different time on the calendar.
Yeah. So maybe if you, I think a day 3 pick is where you're at.
Yeah.
Maybe higher on day 3 if it's more towards the Joe Tooney side, and lower on day 3 if it's more for the Ed Ingram
Jonah
side.
Jackson went for a 6. Kendrick Green went for a 6. How do you feel about Kevin Dotson?
Good player back in his prime.
Well, so this is 2023. We're going back a few years.
Maybe.
Kevin Dotson in a 5th and a 6th went for a 4th and a 5th. So you move up 2 rounds on day 3.
So I think we're all in the same ballpark.
Shaq
here.
Mason in a 7th for a 6th.
Not great. What did they traded Shaq Mason?
23.
What? So that was that trade?
Yeah, actually, he was age 29. That's the same age as.
And what did he get?
It was Shaq Mason in a 7th for a 6th.
Oh, what a horrible trade that was! Gee, like God, like, that was just. I can say these things now because he doesn't run the team anymore, so like it's fine. But like,
I'm trying to remember who they took with that pick.
I mean, my goodness gracious. And then they lowballed Ted Karras too, so they just
that was the same offseason.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
and so they just lost Tooney, Karras, Mason in like the span of like a calendar year, and then drafted Cole Strange, and then everybody wondered why they turned out to be a bad football team. Oh, those were dark times. I'm glad that we're through that time. I really am. Like, Shaq Mason's still playing at a high level. Like, Shaq Mason's still a good player. It's, 3 years removed from a pick swap for Shaq Mason being the trade, and he's still a good player. If that's a trade that they could get, though, because it's similar, you mentioned age and, like, kind of similar players, too. I think Shaq Mason's a little bit more athletic. Onwenu's probably a little bit more sturdy. Maybe. I know Shaq Mason is a hell of a player. But either way, like, if that's all you're getting for Mike Onwenu, even more reason to, like, why are we drafting a guard early? Like, you're not even going to get anything out of a good player in Mike Onwenu because of the position value.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. They traded Shaq Mason for a 5th-round pick. That was different. That was the second time he got traded.
Okay. That a little bit better, but I still feel the same.
I just feel like I kind of left you out to dry. My apologies.
No, that's okay. It's still bad. It was still bad.
Either way. Well, wait. Who did they get with that pick? They traded it to Houston for 183 and 245, and then took
classic Bill
Kevin Harris.
Nice.
And
I like Kevin Harris as a person, a nice guy.
Andrew Stuber.
Sick. Good job. Well done.
Did they get a 5th for Mike Onwenu in a contract year? It's probably about right.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'd rather just keep Mike Onwenu and draft somebody else with that premium pick.
Yeah.
All right, we got to wrap it up. That was a good ending of the show, though. That was
my
fun.
bad. I apologize.
No, it's okay. It still stands. All right, we'll be back next week, the day before the 2026 NFL Draft. We are here. We've arrived. So next Wednesday, we'll do a show like normal, 12 to 2, day before the draft. We're going to do a top 10, I think, top 10 mock draft, even though it's not Patriots necessarily. That'll be fun. And then we'll get into just your thoughts, and we'll just kind of leave it generally open after that to just talk about some last-minute draft stuff. So really looking forward to it. I'm excited. We're almost there.
Almost there.
We made it, baby. We made it. All right, we'll see you guys next week. PU tomorrow. See you guys then.
Hey, this is Deuce. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure you like us wherever you get your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, make sure you follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else that we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.